Very good afternoon, everybody. Today is the first day of the second presentation season. Semester 2 students are making their presentations. And in this afternoon slot, we have 14 presentations. And they are made by these students. Let me share a screen to have a look at the name of the students and their topics. So, Pallavi will be making the first presentation. On Across Oceans of Influence, Indian Philosophical Threads in T.S.Eliot's The Westland. It will be followed by Priyanshiba's presentation on the role of color and cosmos in The Great Gatsby. Rahul will make it on character analysis of The Great Gatsby novel. The title you need to work a little bit. It is not properly structured. Even all keywords, as we suggested, should be in capital letters. The novel also should be capital letter. We want to see that we don't have to give any instructions for the last time. Every day we were giving. Today also in morning also there was at least one namuna is always there who makes mistake, and we have to again pinpoint. Namunas keep on changing. Today it is Rahul, tomorrow will be somebody else. Then third day it will be third fellow. But somebody will always be there that we have to pinpoint that everybody is not getting the message. So we want to reduce that now, that in any of the case we don't want to give any reminder. Clear instructions are given. Everybody follows instructions without failure. And if you can't remember, keep a to-do list. That when I sit down to write a title, I have to be careful about this. So read that, so there are no chances of error. Don't rely on your memory. You think that you have a powerful memory, you will remember everything. That is not going to happen. You will forget very simple things. Okay, RESHMA's presentation will be on the structure of the Westland. Riya's be on fragmentation and collage technique in T.S.Eliot's poetry. TRUPTI will make it on exploring stream of consciousness in Virginia Woolf's window. UNNATI on lost dreams, examining the collapse of the American dream in The Great Gatsby and death of Salesman. YASHRAJ will make it on The Great Gatsby in the Age of Memes, a contemporary lens. Great Gatsby, it's the title, so make it in single or double inverted comma. Single is the better idea. Double also is acceptable, but try to make it separate. This is the title of the text. On Daisy's character in The Great Gatsby. Divya on representation of jazz age in Great Gatsby. Again, you have to see that if there is the in the title, then you have to write the in the title. Title should be written as it is. You can't add unnecessary or remove the word also. So rectify all these things now, because this error will go on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, everywhere. Your mental mistake will multiply on social media. When I will share, when I copy paste from the content, then it will multiply. So be careful with typing the things. HEMALI, in-depth analysis of The Great Gatsby, exploring literary techniques and themes. Jatin will make it on comparative study of Orlando with literature and cinema. Again, I think you're talking about Orlando as a text, so single inverted comma should be there. By the time I start and make this instruction, and when by the time I reach down, you should have corrected it. All these things are in your hand. That is called smartness. So you have the things in your hand, and you can quickly edit. So by the time your name comes, it is edited. But બેચારી મળે તો ક્યાંક લેવા જાય સ્માર્ટનેસ 250 ગ્રામ રોજ બી કે કોઈ પોલિયોના ટીપાની જેમ પીવડાવે તો ક્યાંક સ્માર્ટનેસ ના ટીપા લઈ આવીએ આપણે. નહીતર તો કેમ આવડે, કેમ આવે એ આપણી અંદર. Jay will make it on chromatic narratives exploring symbolism in color from a novel perspective. Which work you are going to discuss, that also you try to mention in the topic, which specific work you want to discuss. Pushing on beyond binary, exploring gender identity and fluidity in Virginia Woolf's Orland. Okay, so these are the presentations in this slot. Let us start with the first one. Pallavi, you can start the presentation.
Sir, can I start?
Yes.
Hello everyone. Today I am going to deal with the presentation of the topic Across Oceans of Influence, Indian Philosophical Threads in T.S.Eliot's The Westland. These are my personal information. These are the table of contents, which topics I have discussed in this presentation. So let's firstly discuss about T.S.Eliot. T.S.Eliot, born on September 26 in 1888 at St. Louis, Missouri, US. He died on January 4 in 1965, London, England. He was an American English poet, playwright, literary critic, and editor, leader of the modernist movement in poetry. These are his famous works. Most famous works are Four Quarter and The Westland. He exercised a strong influence on Anglo-American culture from the 1920s onwards. He received awards like Order of Merit and the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1948. His experiments in diction style and versification revitalized in English poetry. In a series of critical essays, he shattered old orthodoxies and accredited new ones. Like he collected materials from various myths, various language and various literature, and he combined in one. So he make one new path for writers. So let's talk about The Westland. The Westland is a long poem by T.S.Eliot. It was first published in 1922. It initially published in Criterion in London in October, followed by The Dial in New York City in November. Later published in book form with footnotes by Eliot. Considered one of the most influential works of the 20th century. It expressed disillusionment and disgust of the post-World War First period. Portrays a stalwart and panicky fears, barren lusts, and human longing for redemption. The poem is renowned for its innovative use of language, fragmented structure, and rich cultural references. Initially, it met with controversy due to its complex and erudite style, and alternately denounced for obscurity and praised for modernism. Like at first, it falls in controversy, and then it famous that by it T.S. Eliot became very famous and the most prominent poet of his era. These are the 5 parts of the poem. First is the burial of the dead, a game of chess. Third one is the fire sermon. Fourth one is death by water, and fifth one is what the thunder said. Let's see the fire sermon. In which part of the poem T.S. Eliot tries to connect dirt with Indian philosophy, or we can say that Indian myths or Indian thoughts. So we can basically find that mainly in this section fire sermon. He directly draws upon the Buddha's fire sermon in part third titled the fire sermon. The fire sermon was preached by the Buddha against the fires of passion, hatred, and infatuation. The title is borrowed from Buddha's famous sermon on the fires of desire, passion, and causing suffering. Eliot uses the Buddhist view that desire, passion is the root cause of the spiritual wasteland depicted. Reference to Buddha's teaching on renouncing desire and combined with Saint Augustine's view on asceticism. This collection represents the influence of Eastern and Western aesthetic traditions of advocating renunciation. The burning imagery connects the Hindu rituals involving the sacred fires and the purification through the fire. As we can see that fire is in a Hindu or in many culture or religion, fire is considered as one of the most pure. We can say that pure in a symbol of purity. That's why this burning is very significant. That burning to burn your desire, burn your lust, burn your greed. Buddha in his speech tries to convey to everyone that burn your desire, greed, and lust. That and to detach yourself in the sense of to worldly desire, like that. In this, we can find that sexual perversion. We can identify in it. Draws upon Upanishadic concepts like a steel point and insights from texts like Brihadaranya Upanishad. Highlights the universality of the theme of desire causing degeneration across the societies. Regeneration possible only by heeding techniques of moral religious leaders of East and West like Buddhas. Like we can say that T.S.Eliot connects in the the speech of Buddha and Saint Augustine. They both signifies the burning is very important to detach yourself from a worldly desire. So T.S.Eliot tries to collect them and make collage in this poem. Combining Eastern and Western aesthetic traditions. The collocation of Buddha's teaching on renouncing desire with Saint Augustine's views on asceticism represents the confluence of Eastern and Western aesthetic traditions and advocating renunciation. As we discussed earlier, that he tries to combine the Eastern and Western aesthetic traditions and the thoughts of Buddha and Saint Augustine. It connects a connection to Hindu rituals and imagery. As we say that the burning in Parsi, they celebrate their festival with the fire. In Punjabi, they celebrate Lori. The Hindus celebrate Holika Dahan. So fire is one type of symbol which connects with to burn your worldly desire, your lust and greed. Not only the Buddhist concept of desire, passion causing suffering, but also to Hindu rituals involving sacred fires and purification through fire. As we see that use of Upanishadic concepts. In addition, drawing on Buddha's techniques, Eliot's fire sermon section also incorporates insights from Upanishadic texts like Brihadaranya Upanishad. Like we can say that it refers to Brihadaranya shloka, and then he gives example of this. And also it is said like the title Westland also at one side, at one view, we can say that it inspired from Buddha's fire sermon or speech of this detachment. Thunder's message in the Westland. What the thunder said in the Westland draws from Indian philosophy, particularly the Brihadaranya Upanishad. The thunder's triadic command are self-control, compassion, and generosity, echoing Prajapati's technique. Like in that we have this part of Prajapati Brahma's Updesh to his three sons. Eliot rearranges the traditional order to emphasize giving as the initial step towards spiritual growth. The thunder's message is situated within the narrative of spiritual growth or moral decay. Reference to Ganga and Hemant we can find also in this. The call to action reflects the protagonist's journey towards self-awareness to redemption. We can find here the narrator is the Tiresias, who is we can find he is omnipresent, and he describes all the things. So at a moment we can find that self-awareness and redemption we can connect with that. Eliot's inclusion of Indian philosophy depends the thematic complexity of the poem. Indian philosophy helped him to deep down into the philosophy. Prajapati's timeless teaching, a path to inner harmony. In the Brihadaranya Upanishad, Prajapati engaged in the dialogue with his threefold offspring, gods, men, and demons. Imparting essential teachings for spiritual evaluation. Prajapati teachings emphasize that three core virtues: self-control, it means damyata; giving means datta; compassion means dayatva. Self-control means to control ourselves. Every moment, like we can say that to detach ourselves from worldly desire, that nishkam karma, we can also say that in this we can fit in this term, giving, to give something; compassion, or to have pity for someone. These virtues are echoed in the thunder threefold message, that, which encapsulates the essence of Prajapati's teachings. The dialogue between Prajapati and his sons underscores the timeless wisdom embedded in Indian philosophy. Like we can say that this episode Upanishad it reflects the profound engagement with Indian philosophical tradition, and it highlights universal relevance of this ancient teaching and addressing the existential dilemmas. Like it deal with a universal theme. So we can say that this is a universal. We can apply that this Westland is also is a universal poem. Let's say da offspring. These are three offsprings. Devs means God, Manavas humans, and Danavas demons. Devs receive according to T.S.Eliot. Devs receive instruction to self-control means damyata. Manav receive instruction to giving means datta. Or Danavas or demons take instruction of compassion means dayatma. In original, there's the Brihadaranya, there is a different story, but T.S.Eliot modified the story, and after that he retells in this work. Let's say some spiritual symbols. In other, at first we can find that it's a geographical, but at a deeper level we can find that it is a spiritual symbols, like Himmat's reference. Himmat is a formidable mountain range, but we can see that is a scared and majestic landscape, echoing themes of spiritual ascent and enlightenment. In Hinduism, it is like it is a very pure and religious place to visit, like Kailas and Mansarovar. So it also depicts that it evokes a sense of awe and reverence, highlighting that feeling of reverence to highlighting the transcendental nature of poem's journey. It also depicts the nature in religious form. Ganga's reference. We can find the reference of Ganga. The Ganga river carries deep cultural, spiritual significance in Indian tradition. We can find that Ganga symbolizes purity, renewal, and divine grace, and serving the source of spiritual cleansing and rejuvenation. That it also deals with themes of purification and redemption. Indian influence and spiritual symbolism in the Westland, like structural integration by this Indian philosophy, like including Hinduism and Buddhism, that forms integral part of poem structure. Like Sanskrit language and reference, he also uses other languages, but Sanskrit language and reference to Indian texts like Vedas, Upanishad, and Dhammapada are prominent. Like it give it to deal with Eastern philosophy. Symbolism of water and sterility. The title Westland suggests that barren and sterile landscape, but draws parallels to the metaphysical quest symbolized by water Indian texts like the Rigveda and the Dhammapada. Spiritual search and metaphysical pursuits are essential to overcome the sterility. Like we can find that water and sterility, that barren land, and by water we can connect with that. They are connected and they combine with itself to make each other complete. Like influence of Buddhism, which we talk in Fire Sermon, message of compassion and control, which we talk in this what thunder says, like to have a compassionable and control over self. Symbolism and rain and redemption. Rain symbolizes the spiritual and resurgence, and redemption parallels the barren wasteland. Like we can say that thunder message signifies the path restoring peace and other chaotic world. Importance of Sanskrit mantra Shanti. At the end, T.S.Eliot deal with that Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It represents vision of peace, that Vibhavana of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that order derived from Indian tradition. It signifies the culmination, and the protagonist quest serve as the structural element and reinforcing the poem's theme. Like circular structure and spiritual insight. Like we can find that cyclical nature of life and death in this, And Eliot also explored the basic theme of spiritual insight to contribute the poem's structural integrity. To conclude the poem, we can say that T.S. Eliot's The Westland is deeply influenced by Indian philosophical ideas and myths. Through his poem, Eliot weaves together themes of peace and compassion, detachment and pursuit of meaning, drawing from the rich tapestry of Indian philosophy and mythology. By incorporating these elements, Eliot not only enriches his works but also shares universal truths and resonate across culture and generations. This demonstrates the profound influence of Indian philosophy and mythology in shaping Eliot's poetic vision, truly exemplifying the theme of across oceans of the influence in his masterpiece. Like we can say that by this, he also elaborate his vision of humanity or universality. We can find that in his essay, Individual and Talent, he says that one poet should detach himself while writing their works. But he also, by reading this Westland, we can also say that he also cannot detach by his personal experiences. Like we find that sexual perversion and that spiritual degradation, which is derived or maybe inspired from his own life also. He also inspired by his Harvard University's Sanskrit professor to write these all things. By mentioning this, we can say that he actually conveys he actually connects the Eastern world and the Western world together in one poem. So we can say that the Westland is deeply influenced by this Indian philosophical ideas and myths. These are some references. And thank you. If you have any question, feel free to ask.
So Pallavi, as you mentioned about the pirate sermon of detachment, so can you provide other example of detachment in the pirate sermon?
Other example, like we can take a philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Like in this, T.S.Eliot also refers that, but we can say that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also tells that one should detach themselves in that Nishkam Karma Yoga, or to do your work and detach yourself from worldly from fruit of that work. In one speech of Buddha, we can also find that that detachment in that aparigraha. We can find in Jainism there is a aparigraha. We can find aparigraha. It also talks about that detachment of to detach ourselves. We can find in this Ashtanga Yoga, Yam, Niyam, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. In Yam, we can find that there is. In Yam, we can find that there is a step of to detach yourself to aparigraha, or to make a strong, make your will strong to detach yourself. And in like in this in Vairag system, also we can find that sannyasi. So in sannyasi, in Hinduism there is a sannyasi, and in Jainism there is a diksha. So we can find that all these terms or all these philosophy or religious practices are basically trying to convey that to detach yourself from worldly desire. Anyone else?
Pallavi, according to you, how does the concept of Maya or illusion feature in T.S.Eliot's portrait of reality in the Westland?
We can say that in Maya, in the context of Maya, we can find example in this fire sermon when Buddha says that burning, burning, burning. When Buddha addresses that burning, to burn what? To burn your desire. To Maya, that means we are attaching with our we can say that with physical desires, with our wishes, So Buddha tries to tells them to detach yourself. Illusion means to make yourself enough strong, or to take yourself at that higher position of spirituality, or we can say that at the state of mind that you can at that time attach with somebody, attach with something, and at that same time you cannot involve fully in that. So at the we can find that by Buddha's this, or this Brihadaranya we can also find in that first guy self-control. So in the Maya and illusion, we can also find that self-control is very important to control our desire, or our worldly desire. So T.S.Eliot by this example tries to portray the reality in the Westland. Thank you.
It was very long, 26 minutes gone. To make it short, so others also will not delay you.
Hello everyone, myself Priyanshi, and here I am going to give presentation on the role of color and cosmos in the Great Gatsby. This is my personal information. These are the table of contents. First, introduction. Second, green, the allure of wealth and unattainable dreams. Third, white, purity, innocence, and the unattainable. Fourth, other colors. Fifth, cosmic illusions. Seventh, conclusion. 8, reference. Introduction. The Great Gatsby, novel by F. Scott Fitzgerald, published in 1925 by Charles Scribner's Sons, set in Just Edge, New York. It tells the story of Gatsby, a self-made millionaire, and his pursuit of Daisy Buchanan, a wealthy young woman whom he loved in his youth. The Great Gatsby is narrated by Nick Carraway, a Yale University graduate from the Midwest who moves to New York after World War I to pursue a career in bonds. He recounts the events of the summer he spent in the East. 2 years later, reconstructing his story through a series of flashbacks, not always told in chronological order. The Great Gatsby is often praised for its technical success. It is also subtly criticized for lacking depth and seriousness compared to Fitzgerald's later novel Tender is the Night. However, Arnold defends the Great Gatsby as a significant achievement in American literature, highlights Fitzgerald's intention to create something extraordinary and beautiful and simple and intricately patterned, and the novel's use of light and color imagery to depict its major settings. Green, the allure of wealth and unattainable dreams. First, symbolize new wealth, growth, and envy. Second, represents the power of money that Gatsby possesses. Third, the green light at the end of Daisy's rock symbolizes Gatsby's unattainable dreams. Fourth, the green car, the death car that kills metal underscores the destructive force of wealth. Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgasmic future that year by year recedes before us. It eludes us then, but there's no matter. Tomorrow we will run faster, stretch out our arms farther. And then one fine morning, so we beat on odds against the current, born back fiercely into the past. Great Gatsby, Chapter 9. Why? Purity, innocence, and the unattainable. In Chapter 1, the narrator, Nick Carraway, introduced the white faces of fashionable East End, particularly the pervasively white mansion of the Buchanans. who dressed in white and talk endlessly about the white race. The idea is if we don't look out the white race, will be utterly submerged. Daisy Buckman and Jordan Becker are both in white on Nick's first visit. And on his only other recorded visit to East End, the girls are again wearing white dresses. On the last occasion, Nick compares them to silver idols. Still later, he speaks of Daisy as a gleaming like silver. When he is recalling the impression she made as a young lady in Louisville on Gatsby, who saw her white face up to his own when he first made love to her. During those years, as described by Jordan Becker, Daisy dressed in white and a little white roadster. White, even after one excludes near synonyms such as the silver, makes more appearances in the novel than any other single color, and something like 3 of every 4 are applied to SM or characters from SS, especially to Daisy. Daisy is, of course, the golden girl, but the author has also used white 490 times to show the fairness and innocence of her character. In fact, used white color symbolize very effectively to portray Daisy's character. She seems pure and innocent on the outside, but inside she is yellow and corrupt. White is also vital to the novel as it used to portray beauty, cleanliness, wealth, laziness, purity, and virginity. The ironic use of color imagery and symbolize can perhaps best be illustrated by the use of white. The heavenly whiteness of its egg begins as a symbol of beauty, godness, and truth, as Nick attempts to be faithful to Gatsby's vision of Daisy's world. Yet, Fitzgerald's technique does not end with ironic innovation. Before the end of the novel, white regains its traditional symbolic value as it is applied. At last, to Gatsby, on his last night in the East, Nick revisits Gatsby's huge, incorrect failure of a house. There he commits the most significant symbolic in the novel. On the white and obscure wall, scrawled by some boy with a piece of brick, stood out clearly in the moonlight, and I erased it, drawing my shoe resembling along the stone. Other colors, like red, blue, black. Red conveys passion, desire, and danger. The red carpet at Gatsby's parties reflects error and peril. Blue portrays melancholy, distance, and untenability. The blue gardens emphasize Gatsby's isolation. Black wheels represented mourning. Black wheels show nervousness, and black reveals means sorrow. Cosmosic illusion, the eyes of Dr. T.S.Eliot. Multiple meanings. Cosmic imagery like distant star, the eyes evoke a sense of something beyond the material world. They become a powerful visual metaphor for the unseen force shaping the character's life. The comparison of the eyes of Dr. T.S.Eliot negates by his eyes. The eyes of Dr. T.S.Eliot are a pair of fading, deceptive eyes painted on an old ever-standing billboard. Gatsby's eyes. The novel subtly links the eyes of eyes to Gatsby. They watch over everything in the venue, much like an omniscient observer. Described as a vehicle, often stare out, bluntly keeping overlong island, sound, and the green light. The eyes of Dr. T.J. serves as a reminder of the loss of moral clarity in society. Share this cosmic gas, watching over their respective dreams and illusions. Famous quotation of the novel. Conclusion. Fitzgerald, masterful development of color and cosmic imagery in the Great Gatsby transcends mere aesthetics. It establishes a symbolic universe where colors define characters, aspiration, and social stance. Green, the color of Gatsby's yearning for Daisy, embodies both hope and illusiveness of his dream. White, personified by Daisy, signifies untainable beauty and the hollowness of old money. Conversely, the desolate race and yellow of the Valley of Ashes paint a stark picture of moral decay and societal neglect. Through this color-infused cosmos, Fitzgerald critiques the American dream, exposing its allure alongside its inherent emptiness and the deep class divisions that splinter society. These are the references, and thank you. If anyone have questions, then feel free to ask.
So, Priyanshi, my question is, what is the significance of the cosmos in the Great Gatsby?
The significance of the cosmos represents characters' emptiness of their faces, and ultimately they highlight the characters' deep and they highlight a character's face to the universal magnitude. Okay.
Priyanshiba, according to you, how does color contribute the Great Gatsby?
Basically, color symbolize characters, hope, desire. Like with representing green representing hope, white representing purity, innocence, red representing danger, desire, and other color also mentioned in this. Okay, thank you.
Very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rahul Desai, and today I present my presentation on the topic of character analysis of the Great Gatsby. This is my self-introduction, and this indexed, you will find explanation of these points in this presentation. Now let's start with the first slide. Background of the novel. The Great Gatsby is the most famous novel written by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and this novel published in 1925. The novel is set in the fictional town of West Egg on Long Island, Iceland in the early 1920s. J. Getsby, the mysterious millionaire and namesake of the novel, and Nick Carraway, the first-person narrator. Nick Carraway is known as the first-person narrator of this novel. The novel explores themes such as the American dream, hope and desire, social class and inequality, love and desire, moral decay and corruption, and explore the symbols like the green light. J. Getsby, one of the most famous character of this novel, and J. Getsby also believed in green light. The Valley of Ashes, the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eichelberg, and Gatsby's parties. Nick Carraway's eyes readers and introduced to the contrasting words of West Egg and East Egg, representing new money and old money, respectively. The protagonist, J. Gatsby, is known for lavish parties and mysterious background, with rumors circulating about his wealth and past. He very well influenced by his own past. About F. Scott Fitzgerald. F. Scott Fitzgerald was born on 24th September 1986. He known as an American novelist and a short story writer, and he best known for his here we can find the spelling mistake, for his novel The Great Getsby, associated with the Jazz Age and the Roaring Twenties. Fitzgerald had some knowledge of classical language, Latin and literature, Greek and Latin, from his school and college training. Fitzgerald's unique style and technique. He has a very unique style of writing and unique style of technique. Fitzgerald said himself in a letter to his editor Maxwell Perkins, in a small way I was original. He believed in originality and influenced by the original letters and other things with the book of the Side of Paradise. Fitzgerald became known as a daring writer primarily because of his material themes rather than because of his technical innovation. He used very materialistic themes and things in his works of art. These are the major works by Fitzgerald. This Side of Paradise, published in 1920, This Beautiful and Damned, published in 1922, The Great Gatsby, published in 1925, and Tender is the Night, published in 1934. These are the main characters of the Great Gatsby novel. Now let's discuss about Gatsby, a man shrouded in mystery. In this novel, The Great Gatsby, we can find the Gatsby as a mysterious character. Gatsby was established as a dreamer who was macho, charming, gracious, polite, passionate, and we can find sometimes we can find a childish nature in his pursuit of life and a bit of mysterious. He created a mystery during the novel. He believed in American dream and green light. He believed also in green light and wealthy life and materialistic things and many more things. That one really could work one's way up through hard work, resolve, and self-identity. By being so focused on a dream of Daisy, Gatsby moved further and further into a fantasy world which had become a childish illusion. Here we can find the childish illusion in Gatsby. Gatsby is driven by his desire for Daisy, Buchanan on the ID level. He going to on his past and past love and on Daisy and Daisy's love and many more things. Gatsby displayed two behavior types. They are classified as anxiety and defense mechanism of the ego. Gatsby has a very large ego of money and materialistic things and many more things. The statement, "I wanted somebody who wouldn't gossip," showed that Gatsby was experiencing anxiety, where he thought that his affair with Daisy has gone too far. Gatsby did just about anything to avoid pain and preserve a sense of self, and this conclusion often resulted in him creating psychological defenses. Gatsby was showing three types of defenses mechanism of the ego. There are repression, fixation, and regression. One of the famous quote: "If personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures, then there was something gorgeous about him, some heightened sensitivity and to promise of life, as if he were related to one of those intricate machines that register Ithaqwas 10,000 miles away." Now let's discuss Nick Carraway, the moral compass of the Gatsby novel. Nick Carraway is a narrator of this novel. Nick Carraway, the narrator of Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby, is often seen as a moral center of the story. The character grappling with his own desire and disillusionment within the opulent world of the 1920s. We learn or we see the novel according to the narration technique by Nick Carraway. Nick arrives in West End with a sense of idealism and hope for the fresh start. He becomes entered in the lives of great Getsby and Daisy. Initially drawn to their extravagant lifestyle. He talk about Gatsby's mysterious character and lifestyle and everything around Daisy and Gatsby's past and many more things. Nick's narration shape our understanding of the events and characters. Nick might just judge Gatsby harshly while overlooking Daisy's flaws. One of the famous quote, "In my younger and more venerable year, my father gave me some advice that I have been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone," he told me, "just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages that you have had." He learned from his father how to criticize anyone in certain ways. Now, Tom Buchanan and Daisy Buchanan. Tom Buchanan is a very arrogant and very rich man. Nick describes Tom as a hulking, physically spiceman and a person with two shining, arrogant eyes. Tom Buchanan is known for his old money status and his opulent characterization. Tom has the idea of social Darwinism, a term used in the late 19th century to describe the idea of survival of the fittest. Tom is scared of losing Daisy because she is like a possession to Getsby, and she is part of Tom's American dream. Now, on the other side, Daisy Buchanan, a beautiful enigma. We can see the Daisy's character. Daisy hides something, and he dream about something, but it is not clear. We can understand it is not clear. Daisy is ultimately more interested in wealth and social status than true love. Daisy can be seen as a both victim of circumstances and a villain who perpetuate social inequity. Daisy's feeling for Gatsby are fueled by nostalgia and a desire for a more exciting life. He wants something money and materialistic life and rich life. Now let's discuss about Martel Wilson and George Wilson. Martel Wilson aims are too high. He drives through the money and very artificial life. Martel over sentiments her value to Tom. Martel's complete misunderstanding of Tom as well as her violent death fit the overall cynical message in the book that the American dream is false promise to those born outside of the wealthy class in America. Martel's home with George is dark, hopeless image of working class life in America. Martel is very living in very darkness and illusionary life. George Wilson is also super invested in doing business with Tom, and we can say that we see at the end of the novel, George Wilson killed himself. These are the themes we can find in this novel. The American dream. American dream is show the wealthiness and materialistic and a very we can say the very rich life. American dream has a fulfillment in the orgistic post World War I period known as the Roaring Twenties. Then love, quest for the love between Daisy, Getsby, and Tom Buchanan also. Money and materialism. And then a desire and relationship. These are the references. And thank you. If you have any question related to my presentation, you can ask.
Rahul, my question is how does J. Gatsby's romantic idealism influence his perception of reality?
Gatsby's romantic idealism very well influenced by the destroy the lens and quest for love. He emphasizing the love transformation and power of love into the violence, and he very well every time he ready to on love. We can artificial fight for the artificial love, not the love by the good thing and good perception and many more things. This Gatsby's romantic idealism very well impact on the reality in his life. He destroyed the world around him. Anyone else?
So my question is, how does the recurring image of the green light in the Great Gatsby evoke feelings of longing and ambition?
The green light suggests some hope and image of the future of love between Getsby and Daisy. Getsby have very well strong ambition to toward Daisy. Daisy come and live together by the great life and great rich life and money and wealth and love and very well. We see the light in Gatsby. Green light is Gatsby believed in green light. Green light suggests some hope to give some hope to Gatsby to very we can say the very beautiful life. Give beautiful life to Gatsby and Daisy also. Thank you.
Almost 52 minutes in two presentations. It will take 7 hours. In completing 14. It will be midnight if you will take this much time. Keep a stopwatch with you to see how much time you are taking. Read that presentation. Another way is open.
Is another bench. Now presentation.
So, very good afternoon to all of you. Today I am going to deal with the topic, the structure of the Westland. This is my personal information. Introduction of the writer. T.S.Eliot was born in Missouri and died in London 1888, 1965, and completed graduation from Harvard University and was the winner of Nobel Prize in Literature in 1948 and was almost as renowned a literary critic, poet, a dramatist, an editor, and a publisher. Eliot's most notable works includes The West End in 1922, the play Murder in the Cathedral in 1935, and Four Quarters in 1943. This is table of content, and I'm going to deal with author's introduction, introduction to the poem, themes, 5 sections of the poem, and conclusion. Introduction to the poem. The Westland is a poem by T.S.Eliot, widely regarded as one of the most important poems of the 20th century and central work of modernist poetry, and published in 1922, and it consists of 34-line poem. Another feature that may be spoken of in connection with the music techniques is Eliot's way of using literary quotations and allusions. The first impression of the Westland is of multiplicity, of plurality. The reader is aware of and responds to the various parts of the poem, but he feels that the parts are separate, unconnected, and lacking in any cohesion. So the poem doesn't follow a single narrative or feature with consistent style or structure. Themes. The Westland by T.S.Eliot talks about how society felt broken and hopeless after World War I, and it shows a world falling apart with people feeling lost and disconnected. The poem describes a landscape of despair where traditional beliefs and values have crumbled. Through vivid images and references, Eliot paints a picture of a world filled with emptiness and loneliness. Overall, the poem explores the idea of searching for meaning and hope in a world that seems bleak and empty. First section of the poem, the burial of the dead. In this section, it paints a picture of a world filled with emptiness and confusion after World War I, and it captures the sense of disillusionment and spiritual crisis that permeated society at the time. Through vivid imagery and symbolic language, Eliot explores themes of decay, loss, and the search for meaning in a fragmented world. So the section dwells into the contrast between the beauty of nature and the harsh reality of existence, highlighting the struggle to find significance in a seemingly barren landscape. Overall, this section it serves as a powerful reflection. Second section of the poem, A Game of Chess. This section where the scene unfolds in an atmosphere of luxury juxtaposed with decay, symbolizing the hollowness and disillusionment of the post-World War I era. Through vivid imagery and disjointed dialogue, Eliot explores themes of isolation, alienation, and the breakdown of meaningful communication in a society where material wealth fails to provide genuine fulfillment. The section serves as a critique of modern life's emptiness and the futile pursuit of significance amidst spiritual dissolution. The third section of the poem, The Fire Serpent. Here the speaker reflects on the degradation of the Thames River and the desolation of urban life, juxtaposed with glimpses of ancient myth and distant memories through vivid imagery and fragmented narratives, where Eliot explores here the themes of decay, disillusionment, and the loss of spiritual connection in the modern world. So the river serves as a symbol of both life and death, echoing the deterioration of society and the individual's struggle for meaning amidst existential emptiness. The section reflects on the futility of worldly pursuits and the longing. Fourth section of this poem, Death by Water. When Death by Water brings the Phoenician sailor and the ultimate consequence of the lust theme of the fire, and it talks about Phlebas who died at sea. So it shows how life is short and how everything we do eventually fades away. So the poem suggests that no matter how important we think we are, that is something where we face, making us realize that life is temporary and our achievements don't last forever. So it reminds us to think about what really matters in life, because everything else will eventually disappear. The fifth section of the this poem, The Westland, What the Thunder Said. In this part, The Westland, T.S.Eliot shows a world after World War I where people feel lost and spiritually empty. So he talks about death, the need to find meaning in a broken world, and the struggle against feeling trapped, using different features and references, where Eliot paints a picture of hopelessness and despair. So the section ends with the thunder speaking, encouraging people to think about their actions. So here the poet uses different voices and symbols to show how complicated life can be and how we try to find meaning in difficult times. Conclusion of this poem. In the Westland, the poet paints a picture of a world that's fallen apart after World War I through different scenes and symbols. So he shows how people feel lost and spiritually empty. So the poem here talks about the themes like decay, death, and the hope for something new. So it's like a puzzle of different pieces that all show the struggles and confusion of life. So where the writer uses stories, different stories like Fisher King, this Phlebas, then this many more in this. And religion to make us think about big questions. So overall, the Westland poem is a deep reflection on how people try to find meaning in a world full of chaos and sadness. This is my references. Thank you. If anyone is having a question, feel free to ask.
So, Reshma, my question is, how does T.S. Eliot use literary allusions and references to other works in the Westland to convey the meaning?
Okay, Rahul. So over here, T.S. Eliot uses literary allusions and references to other works in the poem to convey the meaning by several ways, like dialogue with tradition, cultural context, readers' engagement, then readers' engagement, and in many more ways. He tries to make readers free to understand the meaning of the poem in different ways, and be engaged with the reading of the poem. Next.
Reshma, my question is, how does T.S.Eliot's intertextuality in the vast land challenges authorship and originality, impacting literary creation and interpretation?
Okay, so T.S. Eliot's intertextuality in the Westland the challenges authorship and originality, impacting literary creation and interpretation in this poem, where T.S. Eliot uses different places and stories in which way he explains the poem, and where it is very hard to say the interpretation of this poem because he says that places are there are many places to understand the meaning of the story or the concept, but on the person is not the person is important in this. So in this way, he interprets the poem in the impacting. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Today on the very first session of our presentation seminar, in which I am going to deal with the topic fragmentation and collage technique and T.S.Eliot's poetry. These are my personal information, and this is developed content. About author Pallavi and Reshma already previously mentioned, so I'm not going to discuss more about. But he was born in September 26, in 1888, and he was died in January 4th, 1965, and he was highly influenced by Anglo-American culture. Westland, this is basic information about Westland. Not talking more about it, but the length. This structured in 433 lines and divided into 5 parts, and influenced and themes. We find the themes like disillusionment, despair, fragmentation, spiritual emptiness, and decline of civilization after World War I, and so many. And we also find that this disillusionment and fragmentation and alienation and so many things are part of modern literature. So in morning session also Dhatri mentioned the topic modernism in Westland. So like that also we connect. This is definition that what is fragmentation and collage technique in Westland. Fragmentation, disillusionment, and alienation and collage are some techniques which we find in Eliot's works. Disillusionment, the aftermath of World War I left a sense of disconnection from traditional values and certainties. Fragmentation and collage, it's a modernist literature which Eliot tries to include in his poetry. Alienation, Eliot's characters are often express a profound sense of isolation and detachment from their surroundings. This fragmentation or lack of consciousness is seen as productive by Eliot, generating new insights through the interchange of effects between the differing ideas. In simple word, we can say that if we are playing a game with the blocks, and by collecting or by interchanging the blocks, we are regenerating the home and the trees and different types of shapes. So that is how Eliot tries to generate poetry or tries to critique of that time. He just taken so many things from myths and different language and try to collect and generate a poem. Fragmentation as a reflection of integration of traditional value. This corruptionness of narrative. Eliot's poem often lack coherent linear narrative, reflecting the fragmentation of modern life, juxtaposition of contrast. This is the technique in which we are contradicting each other, different things, and put it in one line.
and we generate a different meaning. Fragmented identities. Eliot's character struggles with sense of self. His traditional source of identity have eroded. T.S. Eliot's poetry, particularly the Wasteland. Fragmentation and juxtaposition. The Wasteland employs a fragmented non-linear structure that juxtapose disparate culture, literary references, disruptive, cohesive narrative. This fragmented aesthetic reflects modernism's reactionary character that and Eliot's conservative culture politics. And that after that we have a point of decoding. The poem's obscure allusions and fragmented from a demand that reader encrypt and decode the multiple layers of meaning, creating an aesthetic of blocks, access for the untitled and requires initiation into Eliot's culture worldview. As we previously done the task of sheet, which is worksheet given by Sir, in which we are distributing the language and the animals and meats and so many things. So that is how these points for aesthetic of breakage. The poem evocation of rains, fragmentation, and historical decay aligns with British literary tradition of reading the breakage of fallen empires of Eliot's, which Eliot uses to express anxieties about the decline of British imperial power and cultural authority. As we find that when we find that this Westland published at that time, we have post World War I effect. Reactionary politics, the disruption of narrative and the aesthetics of workage in Westland reflects Eliot's reactionary political views, including his identification with British conservatism, his anti-Semitism, and his nostalgia for a myth, past, and social order. As Pallavi mentioned, the mythical approach in Westland, collage technique and juxtaposition of disparate element, layering of fragments. Eliot's poem layering of fragments of text, allusions, and cultural references to create a collage-like effect. Unexpected juxtapositions, the generic juxtaposition of encourageous element reflects the fragmentation and destruction of modern life. Mosaic perspective, Eliot's collage technique incorporate diverse voices and perspective mirroring the complexity of the modern world. Westland, mosaic, fragmented voices and perspective. Fragmented voices, the Westland features a collage of disjoints, voices, and perspectives reflecting the fragmentation of modern society. Like connotation, the poem intuits a linear narrative of favor of mosaic-like structure, mirroring the disunity of modern world. Cultural allusion, Eliot weaves numerous cultural references and literary allusion, creating a densely intertextual tapestry. These are the examples from the Westland. Fragmented voices. April is the cruelest month. Reading and these lines from opening lines. Westland. You who were with me and shapes at Maya and will bloom this year. Lines from Burial of the Dead, juxtaposition of desperate elements. I like we are in Reds and where the dead man lost their bones. These lines are from the same part. Quotation and illusions. Hurry up, please, it's time. Lines from Fire Servant. Had thought that had adorned so many. A game of chess. Yes, this I have taken from Poetry Foundation. Objective, correct, emotional response, fragmented images, sensory fragments, emotional response. In this, we find that Eliot's theory of objective correlative claimed that aesthetic effect was achieved by the catalyzed juxtaposition of images rather than direct expression. This theory was heavily influenced by Merkozin and Levi-Bruhl's ideas about the relogical faculties of primitive cultures, evoking culture anxieties, as we previously mentioned that post aftermath effect of World War I that we find the wastelands minzing, the vegetation ceremonies, Christian legends, and other cultural references shows culture, Bibles, and so on. As Eliot warps and misrepresentation, the source of express and rationalized Western anxiety about the decline. Aesthetic fragmentation, the poems fragmented syncretic structure that mimics orthopogical approaches like Fraser's suggest relation among myth themes and create a meta story about the post-war culture malaise. Aesthetic fragmentation and juxtaposition reinforces the reactionary perspective and history and culture portrayed in the poem. Evoking imperial decline, the wasteland imagery of ruins, crumbling empires, and historical decay evokes a long British literary tradition of reading the wreckage of fallen civilization, which Eliot used to express anxiety about the decline of British imperial power and culture authorities. These are some example original lines from Westland. Fragmented narrative that here we find. He who was living is now dead. We who were living are now dying with a little patience. These are from Burial Dead. Libas of Phoenician, for night dead, forgot the cry of girls and the deep sea swell and the profit and loss, death by the water. This we find in this line, symbolic landscape, unreal city under the brown fog of a winter dawn, a crowd flowed over London Bridge, and so many. I had not thought that had endured so many lines from West. Conclusion: in T.S. Eliot's exploration of fragmentation and collage technique, notably epitomized in Westland, the poet offers compelling reflection on the disintegration of traditional values and the complexities of modernity. Through the juxtaposition of disparate elements, Eliot vividly portrays a fractured landscape mirroring the shattered state of society and individual consciousness, the aftermath of World War One. This poetic technique not only serves as a corrective lens of disillusionment of the post-war era, but also evokes a profound emotional resonance, inviting readers to comfort cues of contemporary existence while seeking out moments of connecting and meaning amidst of a breakage. Eliot's enduring legacy lies in his ability of capture the essence of modernity through his innovative use of fragmentation and collage technique. Urging reader to grapple with the fragmented reality of their own lives and to contemplate avenues for healing and renewal fractured world in a fractured. This is what we shall not case from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. T.S.Eliot, written by, and this line is from Little Eating. These are references, and thank you. If you have any question.
So the last quote. What is the last quote? I read it.
We shall not case from
What is it?
case,
We shall not. Many times in the class, C is a very problematic word. You have to verify whenever you have to speak C. So how will you read this?
I'm reading case, but as you are those, probably I have made mistake over here. So
C is. So you have done a very dull reading of entire presentation, as if somebody has prepared and you are sitting this time. You read this. First time, only I put जाओ आगे आप चालू that was the way we read the presentation. So very long or very dull also. You have to see that you don't have to make presentations. Okay, questions.
So, Riya, my question is, how does the juxtaposition contribute to the thematic development in each poem?
I mentioned over here only one wasteland, but we many times find this concept of fragmentation and collage technique in Eliot's work, and the juxtaposition, for example, we see in two of his poem, like love songs and the portraits. So in two of these, we find that in love songs, we find that the philosophical approach that we find, and Eliot's try to connect us with philosophical ideas, cultural background, and by using that kind of themes, they are using juxtaposition and fragmentation and collage technique in that way. While for portraits, if we see, then we find that the psychological approach. In first, I have mentioned philosophical, but in this we have find a psychological approach. Like the sense of interconnectedness that we find, the character, the fragmentation of character that we find in the second.
Riya, my question to you is, compare T.S.Eliot's use of fragmentation and collage in his early poetry with the use in his later works, and how does this evolution have on the themes and techniques of his poetry?
Okay, so in first of his work, if we talk about the Westland, in which we find that he just tried to write about the aftermath effect of World War I, and fragment and try to connect us with the modern literature and modern time, as we know that in post aftermath effect of World War I, we find that people are losing their faith from the religion and the other aspects by using so many types of means and collecting it and collage it in one poem. He just tried to criticize particular community or a particular society or the situation, and in other works that we find that we find deeper and deeper spiritual themes that we find in his other work. In first work, he just tried to confuse reader with the contemporary time, but in the earlier works, he just tried to more. He just tried to explore more in the religion and the other, and he tries to criticize.
Yes, but none of these two questions are relevant to the presentation. You have to ask, you don't forget that what is presented based on that you have to ask, not on any other poems or any other thing. What is presented on that you have to put the question. You listen carefully the presentation and then you have to ask question based on that. Okay, next one.
Hello everyone, my topic is Exploring Stream of Consciousness in Virginia Woolf's Orlando. These are my personal details. These are a table of contents. Introduction. Virginia Woolf, born in 1882 in London, England, one of the most significant pioneering authors of her time, early 20th century, and also a significant literary voice throughout literary history. Beyond her literary contributions, Woolf was also a prominent feminist and a central figure in the Bloomsbury Group. Bloomsbury Group is a kind of in that group there are many English writers and philosophers, intellectuals, and artists, and their work influence literature, criticism, and many others. And also, they all are influencing the modern attitudes toward sexuality, feminism, and pacifism. She also gained a central position in the feminist movement of 1970. Virginia Woolf's enduring legacy lies not only in her literary achievements but also in her profound exploration of the human experience and her advocacy for artistic and social change. Her innovative techniques and exploration of subjective experiences significantly influenced the development of the modernist literature and paved the way for future writers. Virginia Woolf's writing style. Virginia Woolf pioneered modernist writing in the use of the narrative device of stream of consciousness. In her Stream of Consciousness novel, the writer describes the character's inner life by combining memory, sensation, emotional condition, and feelings. This technique offers insight into characters' inner lives and emotions, creating a more intimate connection between the reader and the narrative. Woolf's characters frequently engage in introspection and reflection, considering their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Woolf's work often serves as a critique of contemporary society, particularly regarding issue of gender, class, and power. Through her characters, her and narrative, she explored the constraints and limitations imposed by societal norms and conventions. Similar to stream of consciousness, Woolf employs interior monologue to provide insight into her character's inner life. She experimented with rhyme, syntax, and diction to create prose that is both lyrical and precise, with a distinctive voice that she is uniquely her own. Understanding stream of consciousness. Stream of consciousness is a narrative technique that aims to capture the continuous and unfiltered flow of characters' thought, emotions, and perceptions. It allows for a deep exploration of the theme of identity and self-reflection. It seeks to replicate the inner working of a character's mind by presenting their mental process in a manner that mimics the spontaneous and often fragmented nature of human thought. Stream of consciousness blur the boundaries between past, present, and future, as well as between external reality and external experience. Stream of consciousness can incorporate multiple perspectives, allowing for shift between different characters, the stream of thought within the same narrative. Stream of consciousness aim to achieve psychological realism by immersing readers in the inner working of characters' mind, revealing their subconscious motivation and conflicts. Orlando chronicles the journey of its main character through various centuries from the Elizabethan era to 20th century. Virginia Woolf use of stream of consciousness in the novel vividly portrays Orlando's fluid gender identity. Through this technique, Woolf offers readers direct insight into Orlando's thoughts, capturing the subjective and non-linear essence of human consciousness. Through this narrative technique, readers gain intimate access to Orlando's thoughts and desire and reflection as they navigate the complexity of gender, identity, and self-discovery. Woolf delves into Orlando character's psyche with sensitivity and depth, portraying the inner turmoil, aspirations, and moments of epiphany with vivid clarity. From moments to introspection and doubt to intense of joy and revelation, Orlando's stream of consciousness illuminates the intricacies of their character, inviting readers to emphasize with the struggle and triumphs on the deeply emotional level. How stream of consciousness enhance the exploration of identity in Orlando. Virginia Woolf's use of stream of consciousness technique in her novel Orlando to express the inner thoughts and feelings of the protagonist and the narrator biographer. Through example from the text, it highlights how Woolf playfully employs stream of consciousness to explore Orlando's emotions, gender identity, and societal expectation. The narrator's introspection also question the objectivity of biography and challenge traditional gender norms by immersing readers in the characters' inner dialogues. Woolf creates a deeper understanding of their motivation and complexity, enhance reader connection with the story and characters. Conclusion: Stream of Consciousness in Orlando by Virginia Woolf enhance the exploration of identity by immersing readers in the character's inner thoughts and perception, allowing for a deep examination of the fluidity and complexity of self. Through this narrative technique, Woolf challenged conventional notions of identity and invites reader to complete the dynamic nature of human existence. These are my references. Thank you. Now, if you have any question, you can ask.
Trupti, my question to you is, as you discussed stream of consciousness, how does Woolf's background and personal experiences influence her use of stream of consciousness technique in her writings?
Virginia Woolf's background and personal experience, it influenced a lot of in her works. As we can see that Virginia Woolf lost many her family members. Like when she was young, she lost her mother. Also, she lost her stepsister, her father, and all. These all experiences influence the Virginia Woolf understanding the human complexity of thoughts and emotion, and the readers can easily connect with it. It also help Virginia Woolf to exploration of theme like identity and self realization and passage of time.
Trupti, my question to you is, in what ways does Woolf stream of consciousness techniques challenge traditional structures?
Virginia Woolf writing technique, stream of consciousness. It is also breaking the traditional chain that she is not starting with a beginning, middle, and that straightforward technique or middle, beginning, and end this technique. But she literally dives in the character's mind, flow as it is. She is not modifying and like adding this. She is writing like go with the flow. What she comes and just write down. This give characters more connection with the readers. Like readers can feel it and just being with it. That's okay. Thank you.
Okay, so very good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'll be dealing with the topic Lost Dreams, examining the collapse of the American dream and the Great Gatsby and the death of Salesman. So, these are my personal information. And yes, the table of content which I'll be discussing is a brief overview of the authors. First one is Francis Scott K. Fitzgerald. He was born during 1896 to 1940. He was an American short story writer and a novelist famous for his depiction of jazz age. His most famous novel is The Great Gatsby. His private life, which was also as celebrated as his novel, was with his wife when he was in America and France. Arthur Miller was time duration was 1950 to 2005. Was an American playwright who combined social awareness with the searching concern of his characters' inner lives. He is best known for Death of Salesman. Miller has won a Tony Award and he has worked with majorly collaborated with the director Ila Khan, who also won Tony. Miller's play Death of Salesman became one of the most famous American play during its period. So I'll be doing the introduction about the Great Gatsby and the Death of Salesman. The Great Gatsby opens by introduction of Nick Carraway, a young Midwesterner who arrives in the Long Island seeking a fresh start after the war. Death of Salesman plunges us straight into the life of Billy Loman, an aging salesman struggling to keep up with the demands of his job. The Great Gatsby unfolds as Nick navigates the web of love, social climbing, and moral decay that surrounds these characters, ultimately revealed through a series of flashbacks. And when we go to the play, explore to the Death of Salesman, play explore the themes of disillusionment, the changing American workplace, and the impact of chasing an idealized version of success, and both Billy and his family lying the hollowness of the American dream and ruin. Yes, when we go through the characters, as previously Rahul and also mentioned about the narrator, protagonist, the Great Gatsby, that is the Gatsby. In the beginning of the story, Gatsby was established as a dreamer who was macho, charming, gracious, and a bit mysterious. By being so focused on his dream of Daisy, that Gatsby moved further and further in a fantasy world, and it looks like a childish illusion. And his inability to deal with the reality set him outside the norm, as seen in the statement, "You don't understand with a touch of panic. You're not going to take care of her anymore." When it comes to the Death of Salesman, the protagonist, that is the Billy Loman, he is a dishonesty flowing with, he has a personality of dishonesty. He told lies about about how popular and respected he was in the town, and how important he was to the New England, waiting to be adored and admired by his son. He, like here we can see Billy is totally, and we can say very. He used to lie even with his family. He was not honest throughout his novel, and which he has to pay at the end. Yes. Focusing on the details over actual measures of success, believing that it is personality, and not high return that gain success in a business world. He was lying to everyone that he was doing a very great business and he was working in a very professional field, but that was not so. He was just showing that he is working, but he used to do nothing. He just as he said in the play, the man who makes an appearance in the business world, the man who creates personal interest is the man who gets ahead. Be liked and you will never want. Yes, so now we'll compare the themes of both the novel and the play. First of all, the Great Gatsby. Dissatisfaction with life, yes, we can see with the characters of Getsby, Daisy, Tom, and yes, everyone. Confrontation with loved ones. After the marriage of Daisy, Getsby tried to confront his love towards Daisy. Realization about the value and meaning of life. Yes, Nick Carraway, the one who comes to study about comes to earn money and all. At the end, he realizes that after the death of Getsby, that there is nothing that we are running behind. So that at the end he also realizes the fantasy elements within realistic stories. Yes, moral growth, living a life of illusion. Yes, Getsby itself. The decline of the American dream, parallels between different time periods, 1920 and 1980. Here, if I'm not wrong, there's a movie or something, 1920 and 80, collaborate, I have cited. Ethical issues, including life, moral development, and wealth inequality. Okay, the themes of Death of Salesman. pursuit of wealth, that is money, success, and social status. Everyone, when we see at the play, it is seen clearly that everyone is running behind success, social status, money, and all. Next one is disillusionment, that is disappointed, shattered dreams, and emptiness. Social mobility, climbing the social ladder, achieving success. Self-deception, denying the truth to protect oneself. Parental expectations. Here we can see that the protagonist, that is Willie, is expecting from his son to be successful. So like pressure of succeed, meeting family standards, even though he was not that much successful, but he was willing that his son would progress. Social inequality, the gap between rich and poor, unequal opportunities. Neglect, okay, failing to provide care or support to loved ones. At the end, we can see Billy is the one who commits suicide just because he knew that if he'll die, then only he'll get the money from the insurance company, so that that money would be helpful for his family. As he did it, he has a regret that he had not done anything for his family. Now, the comparison of the plot. Both novels, a novel and a play, expose a dark side of the American dream. Getsby and Willy Loman relentlessly pursues wealth, status, and social acceptance. However, their definition of success are materialistic and ultimately unfulfilling. Both protagonists are haunted by the past. Getsby clings to his lost love, Daisy, and tries to recapture during that era. Billy idolizes his youth and idea of well-liked salesman, failing to adapt to the changing world. Both characters meet tragic ends. Gatsby's death highlights the emptiness of his materialistic pursuits, and Billy's suicide underscores the disillusionment with the American dreams, false promises. Gatsby, despite his shady past, aspires to join the upper class. Billy, a working class man, struggles to maintain his middle class status in a changing economy. The Great Gatsby is narrated by Nick Carey and offering a broader social commentary. Death of a Salesman utilizes flashbacks and dream sequence, providing a deeper look into Billy's psyche. So, we'll go through both the author's writing style and literary techniques. Fitzgerald's prose depicts the wealthy, upper class, and struggle of those who want to be part of it. He wasn't entirely a modernist and rejected some aspect of it, like stream of consciousness. Fitzgerald's writing is known for its beauty and easy readability. He conveys the emotions and inner struggles of his characters effectively. He relied on traditional techniques, double vision, a storytelling method where the narrator is both insider and outsider, allowing for complex perspectives. While looking towards the Miller's realism, Miller employs cliches purposefully, as seen in The Death of Salesman, to create a specific effect. He incorporates various dialects, like we see the play that there's a like New York Jewish in Death of Salesman, the use of such dialects to represent characters' background and social reality. Miller's language reflects natural American speech patterns. The language choices aim to evoke emotions in the audience and reveal the characters' inner struggle. So, yes, conclusion and final thoughts. Both The Great Gatsby and The Death of Salesman stands timeless literary masterpiece that continues to resonate with audience worldwide. Their profound themes, compelling characters, and evocative narratives ensures their enduring relevance and status as essential works in the canon of American literature. Through the lens of two distinct yet interconnected narratives, readers are encouraged to contemplate the human condition, societal examples, and the pursuit to an exclusive American dream. My references. Thank you for listening. So, if anyone have any questions, please.
Unnati, my question is, what parallels can be drawn between Gatsby and Lowen's journey and the broader American dream narrative?
Okay, so when we look into the novel and the play, we get to know that both the in both the play, the main theme is of American dream, where the people are running behind the social class status, and like they are not concerned about the real world or their even the inner feelings. They just want to live a best life, want to earn money anyhow, and yet the Billy Loman, that is the death of salesman, is the one who is not able to fulfill his dream, though, but he is willing to fulfill. Whereas the great Jay Getsby is the one who fulfilled, but yet he didn't. That was not at all useful. Yes. Okay. So next, please.
Unnati, as you mentioned in your slides, that the comparison between plots and the narrative technique. So, can you please throw some light on the setting of the stories, influence, the characters' aspiration, and the struggles?
Yes, sure. Okay, so in the Great Gatsby was during the roaring setting of roaring 1920s. Roaring 20s, it is known as the era. Whereas the death of salesman is a setting of during the post World War II. So that there's a difference between the settings of a novel and a play, whereas struggle is seen in both the characters, protagonists, both them, and yes, both are struggling the same, though their endings are different, but the struggle, the main theme or the idea is the same. Yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the topic, the Great Gatsby in the Age of Memes, contemporary lens. This is some my personal information. Question and ideas addressed in the presentation. What is a meme? What connection does it have with the Fitzgerald novel? What can memes be? How can memes be useful in bringing literature to life? What are the limitations associated with this approach? Develop contents. Introduction of the text. Title: The Great Gatsby, written by Francis Scott Fitzgerald, J.S. H. in New York. Gatsby's self-made millionaire protagonist, and plot discuss about the Gatsby's pursuit of Daisy Buchanan, a wealthy young woman from his past, and culture is significance refined. It is also known as the Great American Novel. This information taken from Britannica, and it is the same from the novel. The movie adaptation is made by directed by B.S. Luhrmann, released in May 1st, 2013, based on the novel by Francis Scott Fitzgerald. Genre drama, running time, casting Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, Carey Mulligan, and Joel Edgerton. It is like the movie. First of all, what is a meme? This is also from the same source, Britannica. The article is written by Cara Rogers. There he described what is meme, the cultural information spread through imitation. It is a like small definition coined by the Richard Dawkins in 1976 in the Self-Esteem, the work, derived from the Greek word mimima, meaning the imitated. Internet memes emerged in the 21st century, spreading rapidly through the internet, straight through email, social media, as we have seen in the Instagram and Facebook. We also share the memes. Unlike the traditional memes, internet memes are deliberately altered by the individual. This deviates from the Richard Dawkins' original concept of the memes. Now we see that personally we also can share the memes, we can create the memes. It is like the different from the concept, but now we do that in the social media. Now where this Gatsby meme is originated, like in 2030s when the movie adaptation was came by Salesman, then it became very popular, and it is popular in the Tumblr.com. It is the social media platform where you can share the this type of memes through Facebook and the other social media platform. This information, it is from the article named Getsby Revived Through Memes, written by Sabrina Alvarez. Now from the memes, how we can get the idea of the novel through the memes, how the other characters from the novel sees the character of J. Getsby, what NAIK thinks J. Getsby see Getsby quickly obsessive over him, over her, the girl, Daisy, who Daisy thinks he is, yeah, we don't dead, but we are together. Who Tom thinks he is, who told you you can think about my wife? So if I am also cheating, he is also cheating with the other character, Myrtle Wilson. Who Woolf thinks he is, yeah, we live that thug life, as we see in the novel, in the movie, we also find that he is with him. Who society thinks he is, you are telling me they think he is a killer, but they go to his parties. Still they go to the parties and they talk about that he is a killer. Nobody will ever know that I live through my characters. Who Fitzgerald thinks he is. It is taken from the Pinterest. The other thing we find the reference of yellow car. It is from the show Lazy Town, taken from the Pinterest. We find the yellow car reference, and the other one, this side is like from the Office. Gatsby, we are so happy and so in love and life. Really couldn't get it any better, could it? Then Daisy met with an accident with this character Myrtle Winston. It is also from the Pinterest. We find in the novel, in the movie also, the Gatsby is calling this Nick Carraway all the time Old Sport. So he says that my name is not Old Sport. It is taken from the Old Sport GI. It is the character, the Toby. The cast is Toby Maguire. And another was Tom and Gatsby basically fighting over Daisy. Daisy knowing she could just pick one. We find in the novel they are fighting over that, and when he was, the Gatsby get very angry on Tom Buchanan. So there we find that is taken from the meme. It is like the picture you find. See, her name is So Ruth. So it is the meme material. And now some of the advantages we can take, like what, how it is useful in the modern era. The memes, how we can get the connection of the novel through these memes. Accessibility and reaching new audiences. As we know that younger generation people are using more on social media. So they don't basically read the whole bulky novel, but they are on the social media, so they can get the information through it. Connection to pop culture and fostering engagement. People engage through the memes. Community building and sharing ideas. They can share ideas. Classical literature, it makes the classical literature more socially relevant. We find the reference of the two different shows, The Office and the other. So there we find the different pop culture connection, creative expression and participation, gateway to the exploring the original. Sometimes it happens that people might get to the work that from where this idea is coming, so they can get the original novel or they can read that. Democratization of the commentary and discourse. viral and far-reaching nature of memes. As we know, the social media platform, lots of memes are being shared. Encouraging remixing and reinterpretation. It can be interpreted with mixture of the ideas. Low barrier to entry for content creation. So it is like the idea is taken from the same article, the Gatsby Revived Meme, written by Sabrina Elvis, and I also take to uh, synchronize the idea or make the idea to the help of Claude AI. Some of the limitations we find, the reduction on the and oversimplification. Sometimes it happens that the major idea of the novel or the thought is taken away from that. So that could be happen. Perceive bastardization and tribalization. So we can find that the reference can be used in the negative connotation also. So it could ruin the major work, major idea from that. Loss of nuance, RTC, and depth. In the novel we find there is a depth in the description, but in the memes it is like the short term period. We see that potential misinterpretation without context. Sometimes it could be misinterpreted. Potential for distortion and prioritizing humor over analyzing the critic. Memes are basically made for the humor purpose only. So we find we lost the essence of the work. Short attention span and disposable nature, as we discussed. Copyright and intellectual properties issue. Perpetualization and misinformation or harmful stereotype. As we have discussed, it could be used to propagate some stereotype things also. It is also taken from the same resource article. In the conclusion, we can find the discussion offers the balanced view, the limitation and advantages. Classical work like the great Gatsby. Memes ability to such literature more accessible and engage for the younger audience can be reached throughout this humorous way. It goes that memes risk oversimplification, nuance, themes, reducing artistry and potentially misinterpretation, misrepresenting the source material through the commodification and prioritizing humor over depth. But while meme may lead to shallow interpretation without content, the discussion argued that memification can positively sustain classics relevance across the new mediums if limitations are acknowledged. So it could help in the making the classical literature more famous in the contemporary world. It is also taken from the article Gatsby Revived Memes by Sabrina Elvis. I have taken the help of Claude AI for organizing the things. These are some references. This slide I have taken from the slides book. The site is also there, so you can find it. Now you can ask questions.
Yashraj, my question is, how do memes reflect the cultural relevance and staying power of the great Gatsby in contemporary society?
Yes. So as we've seen, the cultural reference, the great Gatsby is written in the 20th century. So we find that culture, jazz culture, we find as many of the presenters have discussed. So we find that culture, American dream, we find. And contemporary society, we can connect it with the today's world, like how the people are living, how they are pursuing the dream. So we can connect both the ideas through memes, and that can give us the influence of the contemporary world. It gives us the mirror to the contemporary society, that how we are living, or are we making the same mistake as this Gatsby in humorous way. So memes can be helpful. Next question.
Yes. According to you, how does the meme culture of today shape our understanding of Gatsby's obsession with his image and reputation?
We have find in one of the memes we find that they are yellow car reference we find. So we see that they are like more obsessed with the American dream, getting the more money and chasing the dream, chasing the girl which is already married. So through the memes we may get through that idea that these type of stereotype, if you find in a person, like getting the money or going after money, it is not a wrong thing. But what path we choose, that matters. Like wrong path, going on a wrong path, whatever we things we do, it may not lead to great success. Or if we get the success, still there's some problems would be there. So somewhere we can lack, and we can understand the idea of image and reputation is like shallow idea. So through this understanding of memes or understanding of the novel, we can understand. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Asha Rathod. I am going to present about the topic Daisy's character in the Great Gatsby. This is my personal information. This is the table of content. First, introduction of author, introduction of novel, what is American Dream, character of Daisy Buchanan, and conclusion. The Great Gatsby was written by F. Scott Fitzgerald. He also known as Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald. He was born on 24 September 1896, St. Paul, Minnesota, in US, and died on 21 December 1914 at the age of 44, Los Angeles, California, and his notable works are this. And his notable family member. His father's name was Edward Fitzgerald, mother's name was Macmillan, and his aunt's name was Zelda Fitzgerald. And he was an American short story writer and novelist famous for his depiction of jazz as the 1920th century. His most brilliant novel being The Great Gatsby. It was published in 1925. This photo was by Fitzgerald. So, introduction of novel. So, Great Gatsby novel by Fitzgerald Fitzgerald is published in 1925 by Charles Stevenson, set in the summer of 1922, primarily in the fictional towns of West End and East on Long Island, New York, narrated by Nick Carraway, who is a young man from the Midwest who become enters in the late of his wealthy neighbors, who is Getsby. And Nick Carraway's cousin name was Daisy Buchanan, and explore themes of in the novel American Dream, love, wealth, and corruption of society, and celebrated for its lyrical prose, vivid imagery, and critique of the jazz society. So first we will discuss what is American Dream. American Dream is the belief that something money, wealth, and in this novel we can find that Getsby want to become rich because of he wants to affection of Daisy. So character of Daisy, and who is Daisy? Daisy was is full of money. Is there any character in American literature more coquettish and coveted than Daisy Buchanan? And Daisy is an immortal character of American literature. Who is Daisy Buchanan? Partly based on Fitzgerald's wife Zelda, Daisy is a beautiful young woman from Louisville, Kentucky. She is Nick's cousin and the object of Gatsby's love. Daisy Buchanan, just like American Dream, is beautiful and full of comics on the surface, but as you dig deeper, you can see that all it is selfishness, manipulation, and participation. Daisy's voice is full of money. Daisy's life wasn't that easy and pink after all. She wanted many things, but as it happens to overly materialistic people, she never had enough. She was lacking in things and emotion. Tom and Daisy Buchanan's marriage was an illusion more than partnership. He cheated on her. She knew it and couldn't leave the comfort his money gave her. When Getsby said voice is full of money, he means that one can sense her wealth and privilege just from hearing her speak. The beautiful Daisy has always lived a life of luxury, facing no consequence for her words and action. Beautiful little fool. It's as a Daisy Buchanan is a beautiful little fool. Daisy says that is the best thing a girl can be in this world, a beautiful little fool. Daisy may not seem to be a very bright or pampered heiress from an old Louisville family. Daisy has lived a life of luxury and she wants nothing more than to keep it that way. Daisy is a delicate, sweet girl with thrilling voice, soft skin, pretty face. She grew up in a rich family and is used to be a comfort and luxury. She simply can't picture herself living another life. And is there any female character in American literature more coquettish and poetic than Daisy Buchanan? She is the most desirable deputy, the ever-evading man. She is the one feverish, thrilling, intoxication, siren, and blossoming flower. She is the Caucasian southern ballet cool in her white dress with her white mansion and her little white mobile. She is the enchanted object, the great American dream, all bright eyes and voice full of her money. And of course, she is the light, green light. It's Gatsby's hope. Daisy. She is the golden girl and the incorruptible and angel and all the platonic ideal that artists and poets throughout the great ages have required their muses to be. And Daisy is an immortal character of American literature. Daisy Buchanan has become an immortal character in Anglo-American literature as the personification of the American like Elizabeth Bennet, Piccola, Maria, and many others. We can also say that she is very suspicious of the influence of those around her. She thinks like majority of people that surround her. She wants to be a person her friends would admire, and most importantly, Daisy's personality is a complete opposite the narrator, and it Nick Carver who introduced her. In conclusion, Daisy is a more the victim than victimizer. She is a victim first of Tom Buchanan's cruel power, but then of Getsby's increasingly depersonalized vision of her. One person may value someone's outer and inner beauty differently than the taxer. Therefore, it is his or her decision whether someone beauty or not. We can say that women of 20th century who want things ready-made, they don't want to do any kind of effort for that. In nowadays, we can also see that these are references. Thank you. Now you can ask questions.
Asha, my question is, in your analysis, Daisy's character within the context of the novel, do you find her portrayal to be more positive or negative? What specific traits or action influence your assessment?
Daisy is a complex character in the Great Gatsby, but I see in her as a negative character due to his decision of inability in Tom and Gretby's, and she leaves her, and often she we can find his character as selfishness, particularly as his relationship with Getsby and his inherited death.
So, Asha, what role does Daisy play in the tragic event of the novel?
In Daisy's character, we can find her action and decision that he is unable to decide, choose a character, Tom and Gatsby, and it led to his downfall, and she is a reason for his death at the end.
Very good afternoon to everyone. Today I am going to deal with the representation of the chases in the novel The Great Gatsby. This is my personal information. And these are the points which I discussed today. Introduction of author, about the novel, what is jazz, characteristic of jazz culture in the novel, representation of jazz culture in the novel, and the conclusion. Introduction of author. Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald, the full name of the author, novelist Francis Scott Key Fitzgerald, was born on September 24, 1896 in Statesboro, Minnesota, in the US, and died in December 21, 1940, Hollywood, California, in the US. Attended Princeton University but dropped out to join in the army during the World War I. Known for his novels and short stories, and also known for the fiction writing and depicting the jazzes. Mostly the Fitzgerald known for his writing in the era of 19th century and 20th century, which focused on the age of jazz. Now, the notable works of Fitzgerald. The first one is This Side of Paradise, published in 1920. This is the debut novel by the Fitzgerald. And second one is The Beautiful and Damned, published in 1922. The novel about the artist's name is Anthony, and his clever wife Gloria. And the third one is Great Gatsby, published in 1925. And fourth one is Tender is the Night, published in 1934. The novel is the last completed novel by the Fitzgerald,
And the last one is the last tycoon. This novel is published posthumously after died Fitzgerald, and this novel published by his friend, The Last Tycoon. Style and themes which used by the Fitzgerald. First one is exploration of American dream, critique of excesses, moral decay of the jazz, examination of love, wealth, societal expectations. About the novel, The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is the novel written by Fitzgerald, Francis Scott Fitzgerald, and published in 1925, set in the summer of 1922. The story is about the narrated by Nick Carraway, a young man from the Midwest and who moves to the Long Island in New York to pursue a career in finance. He rents the house in the affluent West End district. This is the district where the Nick Carraway was going for the pursuing the for a career and pursuing the financial business. And next to the mention of the the mention of the mysterious and enigmatic he meet with Gatsby. As the novel unfolds, it becomes clear that Gatsby and Daisy have a romantic history, and Gatsby's sole motivation is to win Daisy back. Despite that she is married, Nick becomes entangled in their complicated relationship, as we find in the novel. What is jazz? The jazz is all about drink and to be merry, as we consider in the small way. The jazz was an era in American history from the early 1920s until 1929. This period is sometimes also referred to the Roaring Twenties. And due to the explanation of financial success and the carefree lifestyle of the youth, and the cars, radio, television, and of course of the jazz music. Jazz music was a very famous and significant term as we find in the jazz era, also introduced during the 20s. And jazz originated specifically in the New Orleans and quickly spread throughout the country and then Europe. It was fast-paced, highly synophobed, and often featured improvisation. Characteristic of jazz culture. These are the characteristic of jazz culture. First one is American culture, as we find in the novel, and the culture of 19th century. Close generational, so in the youth of 19th century, reflect in the novel by Fitzgerald. Modernity, urbanization, youth culture, flavor culture, and prohibition in the various areas for drinking alcohol, and other one is globalization. Now the representation of jazz culture in the novel. How the jazz culture is referred in the novel. First one is social disparities. The division between the old money and new money, as seen in the contrast between Tom Buchanan and Getsby, reflect that the disparities between traditional aristocracy and the newlyweds during the era, as we find in the Buchanan and Getsby. Social disparities have reflect that Getsby sees money as the means to fulfilling is the incorruptible dream. When Nick tells him that you can't repeat the past, and Getsby incredulous said that can't repeat the past, and here the conversation reflect that how social disparities are work in the jazz culture, and jazz in the social disparities how work in the novels. Second one is American Dream, the significant representation we find in the novel that how jazz culture represents through the American Dream. The character's aspiration and pursuit of the American Dream, particularly Getsby's desire to win back Daisies, as exemplified the era's idealistic and often elusive goals. And the American Dream that how Getsby is attached to the Daisy, even you know that he was married. In the Great Gatsby, how the American Dream reflect that. Fitzgerald writes about the foundation of American Dream and the American society, which took pride itself as being founded on equality and freedom. And Fitzgerald drew a picture of the jazzes that reflect both the suffering of working class and the ignorance of upper class. Third one is extravagant parties, as we find in the movie and the novels. The part, how the party was organized by the Gatsby. And Gatsby's opulent parties symbolize the era of pursuit or of pleasure and excess. The parties are characterized a lavish decoration and luxurious life of people. It's mostly focused on the Gatsby, how the lavish life reflects and yeah, organize the party and music, dancing in the party. The music and dancing reflected the indulgence and hedonism of the jazzes. Fourth one is materialism and consumerism. Materialism and consumerism. The novel's characters exhibited the fixation on material wealth and status. These mirrors of societal emphasis on the acquiring possessions as a measure of success and happiness during the jazzes. The important and significant role of jazz music during the jazz age in the 1920s was also debuted as the jazz age due to the rapid rise of popularity in the jazz music, with the jazz having originated from the African and American culture. The sixth one is changing in gender roles. The character of Jordan Decker, which reflects how gender roles changing in the novels and challenges traditional gender roles and reflecting evolving role of women in the society during the 1920th century and the era of the jazz age. Now the conclusion. The Great Gatsby in the Fitzgerald masterfully portrays the jazzes, as I mentioned that how the novel by American Dream and the clever culture and the jazz music reflected the jazzes and the time of superficiality, access and moral ambiguity through the vibrant characters and symbolic imagery. They explored the allure and emptiness of wealth, delivering poignant commentary on the fleeting nature of glamour and the disillusionment of the American dream. These are the references. Now, anyone have questions regarding the presentation?
Divya, my question is what are the defining characteristics of leopard culture?
Okay, as I mentioned, the characteristic of leopard culture and the time of 20th century, the leopard culture means the reflect that the woman or the lifestyle of young woman and and the people, the woman who neglect and rejecting how the societal and traditional norms and explore the and embracing to the freedom while for seeking of the desire and how to live for freedom. As we find the character of Daisy Buchanan, this also reflected the girl who was refers to the known as a clever culture. Anyone else?
Divya, my question is, can you elaborate on the term roaring 20s in the little more detail, specifically in the context of the novel?
The term roaring 20s, which was referred the decade of 19th century, and especially in the United States, where the changing and shift in the culture, society, and economical, especially with the impact of industrialization and technological advancement, with technological advancements leading to the increase of the wealth and how the people earning money. Okay, thank you.
Hello everyone. Myself, HEMALI. Today I am going to give a presentation on in-depth analysis of the great Getsby, exploring literary techniques and themes. Here is my personal information. Introduction. The Great Gatsby is a famous American novel written by F. Fitzgerald. It's loved for its portrayal of the 1920s, known as the Jazz Age. The story follows J. Gatsby, a wealthy and mysterious man, as seen through the eyes of the narrator, Nick Carraway. Gatsby's extravagant parties and his pursuit of the elusive Daisy Buchanan reveal themes of love, wealth, and the American dream. Fitzgerald's writing style is clear and powerful, making the book a classic read for anyone interested in the American literature. Significance of The Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby is hailed as a masterpiece by many and loved by others for its captivating narrative. Despite some detractors, it's essential to recognize its importance in literature. The novel showcases Fitzgerald's remarkable technical skill and narrative depth, surpassing his earlier works. Critics praise its economic clarity and symbolic richness, as well as the role of narrator Nick Carraway in providing control and clarity. The dense yet rich language adds depth to the narrative, making The Great Gatsby a timeless classic with enduring significance. Unreliable narration in The Great Gatsby. In Unreliable Narration in The Great Gatsby, Thomas E. Boyle discusses the challenge of interpreting the novel and the diversity of critical perspectives surrounding it. He argues that understanding the novel requires analyzing its words, sounds, rhythms, and the ideas, rather than imposing external interpretations onto it. Woolf introduces Heinz Booth's concept of distance between the narrator's perception and the reader's, suggesting that this distance indicates an unreliable narrator. He critiques Booth's assertion that Nick Carraway provides reliable guidance, highlighting the complexity of Nick's perception and its impact on the novel's interpretation. Patterns in The Great Gatsby. When Fitzgerald revised a scene in The Great Gatsby, he added seemingly irrelevant phrases like picture titles, which may actually reflect his aspiration to create an intricately patterned work of art. His letters to his editor reveal his intention to craft something extraordinary, suggesting that these additions contribute to the novel's overall aesthetic. A close examination of the text reveals layers of composition indicating that The Great Gatsby is indeed intricately patterned, embodying Fitzgerald's artistic vision and aspirations. Ethnicity in The Great Gatsby. In The Great Gatsby, F. Scott Fitzgerald talks about ethnicity in the 1920s. He shows how some characters like Tom represent the old rich people, while others like Gatsby represent the new rich, showing how society was changing. Characters like Mayor Wolfram, who is Jewish, reflect the stereotypes of the time. Even white characters like Church face discrimination because of their class. Fitzgerald's book helps us to understand how ethnicity affected people's lives in the 1920s. Conclusion. In essence, The Great Gatsby is a timeless masterpiece that delves into themes of love, wealth, and the American dream. Through Fitzgerald's clear writing style and intricate narrative, the novel captivates readers with its exploration of perception, social dynamics, and issues of ethnicity and class in the 1920s. As a classic work of literature, it continues to resonate with audiences, offering profound insights into the human condition and the enduring significance of storytelling. In the end, I would like to share a quote from Daisy Buchanan. All I kept thinking about over and over was, you can't live forever, you can't live forever. Here is box cited. Thank you. If anyone has questions, feel free to ask.
Hemali, my question is that what is the significance of discussing ethnicity in the Great Gatsby?
The significance of discussing ethnicity in The Great Gatsby, it helps us to understand societal changes in 1920s, characters like Tom and Getsby. Getsby reflect as a different aspect of wealth, while other characters like George and Mayor Wolfstream reflect as a discrimination of the time. Anyone?
Yes. So, Hemali, my question is that why is the Great Gatsby considered as a significant novel?
The Great Gatsby considered as a significant novel because it showcases expert Fitzgerald's writing skills and explores the themes of love, wealth, and the American dream, making it a timeless classic. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Today I am going to give you a presentation on comparative study of Orlando with literature and Indian cinema. Here is my some personal information, points to ponder about both. Virginia Woolf was a famous British writer born on January 25, 1882 in London. She is known for her pioneer works in modernist literature during the early 20th century. Woolf was a key figure in a Bloomsbury group, a circle of intellectuals and artists. As TRUPTI mentioned in his presentation about the Bloomsbury group, her most famous work is Mrs. Dalloway to the Lighthouse and Orlando. Woolf's writing style often focused on the interior lives for her character and explored the theme of consequence and prescription. She struggled with the mental illness throughout her life, experienced the periods of severe depression. In 1941, Woolf tragically died by suicide at the age of 59. We all know know about her suicide. She lives in a river with some heavy stones. Overview of Orlando. Orlando is a unique biographical novel inspired by the family history of Vita Sackville West. The story starts in 1588 with a young boy named Orlando. He writes a poem, Oak Tree. Orlando becomes popular at the Elizabethan court and falls in love with a princess from Russia. He has conversation about the literature with a poet named Sir Nicholas Green, who is similar to Sir Edmund Gosse. Here I take help of AI ideogram to represent the novel's cover photo. I want to try to represent a dual identity of Orlando in the same poster. Later, during the time of Charles II, Orlando becomes the ambassador and gets a fancy title. One strange night, Orlando falls asleep as a man and wakes up as a woman. One night when he sleeps as a man and after the 7 days he wakes up as a female character in the novel. She enjoys her life as a female character, but when she returned in 1928 in London, she met her friend Green, who helped to publish her poem. Here we can find out some heavy strength of the novel. The novel starts in 1588 and ends in 1928. So here the novel past the many centuries overview of Shikhandi. I take this information of the book of Devdutt Patnaik and the based on his article. Shikhandi was originally born a woman named Amba in previous life. After being rejected by Bhishma and unable to take revenge as a woman, Amba took rebirth through the boon of Lord Shiva. Shikhandi is a translated child of King Drupad. The article states that Shikhandi is described the Inuj in Mahabharata, but the author Devdutt Patnaik points to the Shikhandi as an actual transsexual, someone who transforms one gender to another gender. So Shikhandi is gender identity transformed from female Amba to transgender male transsexual person Shikhandi across the mythological tale. The article highlights the Shikhandi's gender fluidity being a woman and man in the same body, allowed to take revenge on Bhishma and Mahabharata battle. Some similarity between Orlando and Shikhandi, gender fluidity. In both of work, we find out some gender fluidity and transformation of main characters. In Orlando, the protagonist is transformed. First, he is considered as a male character and then transformed is a female character. And in the other hand, Shikhandi, he is considered as a woman like Amba, and then he is transformed in a male character, or we can say a transsexual character. Finding themselves, both characters go on a journey to figure out who they really are. Orlando explore the different part of themselves beyond just being a male to a female, while Shikhandi struggle with the big expect the different gender in Asian India. Big deals in the stories. Orlando and Shikhandi are important figures in the stories that have been told a long time, that represent idea about the gender identity and what society expects from people. Orlando's story is famous for showing how someone can change gender, and Shikhandi's story challenge what people thought about the gender roles long ago. Now I try to compare it Orlando in Indian cinema. The Lakshmi is a very famous movie released in 2020. It features a transgender character named Lakshmi, portrayed by actor Sharad Kelkar. The story revolves around Lakshmi's spirit processing in the body of the main protagonist, role played by Akshay Kumar. The movies address the societal attitude towards the transgender and individual in India. It highlights the discrimination and prejudice that face transgender people in Indian society. We find out how transgender community are facing some loss of struggle in India. Lakshmi's character challenges the traditional gender norms and expectations. The film aims to raise awareness about transgender and issues, promote the absent the insecurity. While the movie received a mixed review, it sparked a conversation about the transgender represented in Indian cinema. Some similarity between Orlando and Lakshmi movie, exploring the gender identity. The both of works into the gender identity and transformation. In the Lakshmi, the protagonist proceeds by the ghost and transgender woman, blurring the lines between genders. Similarly, in Orlando, the titular character undergoes the gender transformation from man to a woman, exploring the fluidity of gender identity. Historical context. Orlando covers many different times in history and how people lived during those times. As we know, Orlando, the novel starts with 1588 and ends with 1928. So much time Orlando was passed in a lost of century, and he observed the lifestyle of people of that time. In a Lakshmi movie, it talks about the culture and beliefs in India, especially about ghost and transgender people. Here we find out some supernatural element and how transgender communities face some struggle in India. Challenges and expenses. Both stories show how hard it is for a character who don't fit into a typical idea about gender. In Orlando, the main character face pressure and difficulties because they change gender. In the Lakshmi, the process the character deals with unfair treatment because they link in transgender ghosts. Representation of transformation. In both story, main character go through a big change. in a Lakshmi, the protagonists are controlling a ghost, and she change her or his gender. And in the other side, Orlando also changed his identity in twice time in a novel. So in a conclusion, comparing Orlando by Virginia Woolf frequently from the Mahabharata and movie Lakshmi, lets us see how different culture and times handle gender identity in story in Orlando. Would show us the character who doesn't fit into a typical male or female roles for many centuries, making us rethink what gender means. Similarly, Shikhandi in Mahabharata challenges gender roles in Indian mythology, showing how individuals shape their identity despite society expectation. On the other hand, Lakshmi tries to talk about the gender identity in today's India through the popular movie lens. Each tale gives it own take on the journey to self-acceptance, encouraging us to think critically about society norms and celebrate our differences. Here are some work citations. Thank you. If you have any question regarding my presentation, so you can free to ask.
So, Jatin, in what ways do the main character's journey of self-discovery parallel each other?
Self-discovery, we find out self-discovery in the same theme in all three work. In Orlando self-discovery, Orlando tries to discover herself. We find out we cannot say any particular gender of Orlando. He plays a role like a male, and sometimes he plays role like a female. In the start of the novel, we consider Orlando as a male character, but in the end, we can know about his identity as a female character. In the other hand, Shikhandi in Mahabharata, Shikhandi, the first birth in a Shikhandi is considered as a female character named Amba. And after the rebirth in a same body, he considered as a male character like or transgender character like Shikhandi.
Satin, my question is that how did transformation of gender play an important role in each of these tales?
In every tale, the transformation plays a big role. Without transformation, we can't imagine Orlando's story, because the main theme in Orlando is a transformation. Without transformation, Orlando is not a worthy or good novel. And in a Shikhandi, in Mahabharata, the transformation of Amba to a Shikhandi is considered like to take a revenge. We all know about the Shikhandi and Amba story. When Bhishma wants Shikhandi for his nephew, but after rejection of Bhishma, Shikhandi wants to take revenge, but he can't able to do it in a female body. That's why he went to Lord Shiva and boon by him, and she rebirthed as a male character in the same body. So transformation is play an important role in both works. Thank you very much.
So very good evening to everyone. So today I am going to present paper number 106. My topic is chromatic narratives, exploring symbolism in colors from novel perspective. So first of all, the title, because I add 3 novels in this presentation. So this is my personal information. This is a table of contents. So first we are going to see what is the meaning or what is the definition of color symbolism, and I will discuss in these 3 novels: The Great Gatsby, The Bluest Eye, and the chacha in the right. So in this three novel, there are places and the character who symbolize the colors. So let's start with the introduction. So color symbolize refers to the use of color to represent the idea, emotion, or concept beyond their literary meaning. Is commonly literary and artistic device employed to evoke certain feeling or convey deeper meaning within a work. Different cultures and context attribute various symbolic meaning. Colors often based on societal, religious, or historical associations. So next slide is the what is the colors, what is the meaning of the color symbolism, and how we can apply in the novels, or we can say we can get the idea in the literature. So color symbolism is a practice of imbuing colors with specific meanings or a function beyond their more visual appearance. It involves using colors to represent abstract concept, emotion, or theme within literature, arts, religion, and culture. However, the interpretation of color symbolism can vary significantly depending on culture and on constitutive factors. So, is essentially considered the specific culture and historical context when analyzing color symbolism in particular work. So, we can find out in the literature how we can raise the question that what is colors, what the color is matter in the novels, or we can see in the work, and why that is very important, and why this theme of color or symbolism is very important in every work of the what a writer is writing, and how he make impact in this novels, or we can say any other works. So first is the Great Gatsby by the F. Scott Fisker. The novel published in 1925, set in 1920 in New York, explore theme of American dream, wealth, love, and the descendants of the JSS through Nick's narration of tragic story of Getsby pursuit of Daisy's love. It is regarded as Fisker's masterpiece and one of the greatest American novels. So there are some characters. So this character also we can consider as a color symbol, because they also have some story and some we can say some idea, or we can say some theme of the colors where they are contributing, or we can say we can see the colors how they symbolize them in the characters. So there are I take two things: the places and the character. So first is the state is a characterized by the color of white, which symbolizes heaven, purity, and the heaven of God in Christian and Neoplatonic tradition. The white associated with Daisy and the Buchanan initially seems to represent beauty and goodness by the ink text on evil connection of moral blackness. The other is the value of ashes. The value of ashes we can see is here is the color of gray. It symbolizes the color of darkness and the dimness. And it also symbolizes the hell and absence of God and short of purgatory wasteland. The other place is the west, associated with color of visible spectrum, especially yellow and gold, which represent the material and created world. Gatsby yellow and golden was started as a Edenic garden and become a polar lyrics. And the main color, we can say, or main place, the color of the green, that light, we can say the light blue, when the Gatsby is always attached with that, because of the attachment of Daisy and Gatsby. So this color is the main center, or we can say center of this novel, and also symbolize very different kind of content of the Gatsby. The other thing I take is the pink suit, that the pink color. That first I haven't taken this the symbolism of this color, because I forget about that, and then I remember this color. That how is also symbolized very unique way. that also in the sir also like in the lecture talk about the Amir Khan's character of Rangila when he dressed the yellow dress. That's how Gatsby and the Amir Khan's character is matching in the symbolism of colors. So the choice of Gatsby attire, particularly his pink shoes, serve as a prominent indicator of fabricated background and reflect not his actual organization of his class origin. An educated upper class gentleman typically refrains from wearing such a flamboyant color. So we can find out in the like in the present time we can find out that we can connect with if someone wearing like boy or any man wearing the pink color, that is how other society or we will recognize that like he's wearing a pink shirt. Why is he wearing pink? So this color is like it's only we can only see as that only women can wear, but that so it's not like that only women have to wear this pink color or wear it, but also men are wearing and that time also Gatsby wear it. If you see the story or if you see the movie, then you can find out the more Gatsby is wearing the always wearing shoes and different color. But when he starting when he wear the pink color, he is starting to his breakdown. After that, he is going to break down, and a lot of things happen. So that pink color is center in this novel. So the other novel I think is the Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. So this novel is defines the character of Pecola, the American African girl that is very in a like we know the context of the American African condition of the that time, that how black people are seen. So that also the color symbolism are in this novel. So the character of Pecola like there is a four color, but in here the main color of the novel is the bluest eye, as the mentioning in the novel also the blue color. So the also there is white color, yellow color, orange color, and gray color. So the white color is essentially the idealized standard of beauty promoted in society: fair skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. Object like the Shelly temple dome and cup represent this white ideal. You can see in the image of the cup. The yellow orange color is marigold, and rebellions have complex meanings, and the marigold not blooming symbolize the survey of the black community, but Pecola's love of the yellow red line show her in internalization of white beauty standard. The main symbol of this novel is the blue color. That blue spelling symbolize Pecola's desperate longing of to have blue eyes be accepted in the white ideal of the beauty. Her obsession with blue eyes leading to her mental breakdown. Other color symbolize is gray and dark color, that lack of color used despite of value of ashes, and Pecola's gray operation reality as a black girl execute from mainstream beauty ideas. The last one is the Catcher of the Rye by the JADAV. So this novel also there one character. There's a name as Golden. There's in this novel there also there's color symbolize of the red. The red color is the main symbolize color of in the novel. So the novel is gained fame. So JD7 gained fame is for the novel The Catcher of the Rye. Is become the entrance classic adolescent age and published in 1951. The coming of age novel follows experience of Golden Poetry. This 60-year-old who has been explained for preschool, and the story unfold over the course 2 days as a Golden navigation in New York City, grappling with the feeling of alienation and delusionment with adult world. So what is the symbol of the colors in the whole? The first color, as I said, the red color is the central symbolism, and the main color, main symbolism color is define the golden character. So golden character also in the red wanting head is the main main thing or make a main idea that concept, or we can say in the novel. In represent is allowed for the innocence of this is younger brother area who had red. Other is a gold. The gold ring center of the person represent the risk and challenge of growing up. That Golden was faced as he realized he could not protect childhood innocence forever. He watches Weber trying to reach for it. So the gold ring color you can see in the picture, the mid in the center. The yellow color also there. Their color symbolize the fear and apprehension about entering adulthood and leaving the childhood here. And his admit he is very yellow coward at time. The yellow pill is being contrast with the green of his adulthood. Other who has green and blue, the it is represent of the world of adulthood of older years and tries to prevent the children from entering too soon and symbolize his dream to catching children before they fall into the green adulthood. The blue is the symbolizes a rare moment of calmness, serenity, and happiness of older pills, and such as ice skating with Sally, is one character there. Wearing the blue dress of washing food, so it would right to course. In conclusion, we can let me give the what the literature, and in literature how we see the colors, how we symbolize the colors. So as I mentioned in the introduction that if we find out the novels, or we can say any other books, that how author are showing us with character or the place or any other thing, that how the color are symbolized. Like in our like a very old time, we can say that we have the television. Like we have only black and white color, and then after slowly the colors are in the television. So how we connect with this in this idea? So the colors often carry deeper meanings that reflect character, emotion, struggle, and the world around them. So there is also symbolize how conclusion is how in literature the color are symbolized. So the white symbolize purity and beauty, but also represent the exclusion and influence. Yellow and orange represent the complex idea from the suppression of internalized standard. Blue is reflecting longing and obsession, while gray and dark color despite blackness and oppression. Each should contribute to the story's theme and character journey. As I say, we can say the character, how novel and how our writer is writing in story, how their colors symbolize particular places, characters, and other also things. So whether the golden red head symbolize innocence or Gatsby green light represent unattainable dreams. Colors add layers of the depth of the storytelling and enriching our understanding of the character and their experience. So that is from my side. That's the reference, and thank you. If you have question, then ask.
So Jay, why is it important to consider a specific culture and a historic context when analyzing color symbolism in particular words?
So in historical context and in the culture or historical, you can say that as I said, how in the first old time, and then right now is very color changing of it. But the symbolism of color is not changing. But in the historical, we can find out that if someone writing is a novel, then they are adding some color definition, and is showing that how is in historical way we can find out that also the symbolism that if color are discrimination of the character or any other ideas that offer us in novel or any work they are putting it. So that's the answer. Next thing.
So, Joy, how do Gatsby's pink suit serve as a metaphor for the artificiality and constructed nature of his identity and lifestyle?
So the Gatsby pink suit mainly when I mentioned that after wearing the pink suit, that his breakdown is starting. His breakdown is starting in his nature of identity. And last time he also changed that how pink suit. He is always in the suit, but what is the what is the what is the color of the pink? The pink color is like in saying is a true identity or his true self is not finding or like is like forgetting or we can say in a way is forgetting in the character of the Daisy and Gatsby. So in a way the lifestyle of Gatsby after the pink suit is like very not understandable, but how why is when pink suit is very recognized as a breakdown and come to the end of the novel and or we can say the end of the idea of Gatsby. Thank you. This is from my side.
Hello everyone, good evening. Today, first day of the presentation. I am Khushi Rathod. This is my topic, Beyond Binary, Exploring Gender Identity and Fluidity in Virginia Woolf, Orlando. This is my personal information. This is the table of content which I discussed. Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf was the pioneer English writer and a key figure in the modernist literary movement. She is renowned for her innovative narrative technique and exploration of complex themes such as gender, identity, and consciousness. Woolf's works often challenging social norms and convention, making her a significant figure in feminist literature. Key works: Mrs. Dolby, To the Lighthouse, and Third, A Room of One's Own. Overview of Orlando. Orlando is a novel by Virginia Woolf published in 1928. The story begins in 1588 with a 16-year-old boy named Orlando who writes a poem called The Oak Tree. Orlando gains favor at the Elizabethan court and falls in love with Russian princess. He engages in a literary discussion with Sir Nicholas Green, modeled after Sir Edmund Gosse. Later, during the reign of Charles II, Orlando becomes ambassador of Constantinople and he rewarded with a dukedom. One night, Orlando mysteriously transforms into a beautiful woman. As a woman, Orlando experienced different aspects of life from intellectual London society to poor street life. She marries for respectability during the Victorian era. By 1928, Orlando is back in London and reunited with Green, who offered to find a publisher for The Oak Tree. The novel ends with Orlando standing under the great oak at her country estate, reminiscing about her century of adventures. The novel explored the theme of androgyny and the creative life of women. Androgyny means the quality quality being neither specifically feminine or masculine. Orlando marked a departure from Woolf's introspective work and brought financial success due to its spectacular sales. Gender identity in Orlando. Orlando begins the novel as the 16th century nobleman exhibiting traditional masculine traits but also displays some feminine quality, hinting at an underlying androgyny. At age 30, Orlando inexplicably transform into woman overnight while in a constant pole. This magical gender change is never explained. As a woman in a later century, Orlando maintains the same core identity and personality from when she was a man. Her outward appearance changed, but her inner self remained intact. He made to change woman, but her inner self not changed. Like thought, Orlando experienced life from the perspective of both genders. She incorporates what she learned as a man to navigate the world as a woman. Orlando married a man and bears a child, further blurring traditional gender binary. The experience both masculine and feminine role. By the end, Orlando fully embodies an androgynous gender identity, neither wholly male or not female, but an gender traits and experience with one person. Gender identity, Simone de Beauvoir viewpoint. Simone de Beauvoir argues that one is not born but rather become a woman, and that femininity is a social construct rather than biological determinant. This notion is reflected in Orlando, where the protagonist seamlessly transition from a man to a woman, suggesting that gender is a fluid and socially defined rather than fixed by biology. They argue that saying that being a woman is not something you are born as, but something you become because society expectation and the role. These ideas for the Orlando, where the main character being man to woman without trouble, suggesting that gender is something can change and more about how society treat you. They maintain that feminine gender roles are imposed or on women by patriarchal culture and civilization as a whole. This idea resonates in Orlando as the protagonist noticed distinct differences in how society expects and views her as a woman compared to when she was a man. The novel exemplified that argument that masculinity and femininity are culture construct by depicting Orlando exhibiting both masculine and feminine traits across different eras, blurring the lines of gender binaries. The fluidity of being Orlando's metamorphosis and the androgynous idea. Woolf challenges rigid gender binaries by depicting Orlando transitioning seemingly from a male to female body, suggesting gender is a fluid and transcends physical sex. Meaning, Woolf saying that gender isn't a fixed, being either male or female. In Orlando, the main character changed man to woman, much difficulty, showing the gender isn't just about your body physical sex. This suggests that gender can be flexible and isn't limited to strict categories of male or female. Orlando display an androgynous temperament combining masculine and feminine qualities, being brave and strong like a man, yet also sensitive and delicate like a woman. The novel portrays gender identity and as a socially constructed rather than biological determinant, aligned with viewers' view that one is not born but rather becomes a woman. Orlando gender fluidity allows the expression of both masculine and feminine perspective, reflecting Woolf's belief that artist creation requires an androgynous mind, blending the two. Through Orlando transcend of gender boundaries, Woolf advocates for the androgynous vision that appreciates gender differences while moving towards freedom, equality, and harmony between the masculine and feminine. Woolf's commentary on gender. In Orlando, Woolf presents androgynous not as the seamless synthesis of gender, but as the intermix, where masculine and feminine qualities and coexist without fully merging. Orlando changes biological sex from male to female, but narrative state Orlando remained preciously as he had been, despite the change. Woolf used the figure of androgynous to challenge rigid gender binaries and ideas in commensurable sexual difference that were prevalent in the 19th and early 20th century, influenced by evolutionary science and nationalism. However, Woolf is the ambivalent in her depiction of androgynous, sometimes portraying it is a positive hybrid from that resist gender norms, other times invoking romantic ideas of an androgynous synthesis that transcends gender entirely. As the in a room of once on Virginia Woolf work, the novel connects gender fluidity to issue of race and sexuality as well. Would use resilience orientalist imagery to code androgynous and same-sex desire as exotic but also retaining femininity. While this template gender category, Orlando largely maintained radical purity for the protagonist using imaginary of marble and blank surface to reinforce whiteness. My presentation and one quote Margaret Fuller: "There is no wholly masculine man, no purely feminine woman." Conclusion: in brief, Virginia Woolf Orlando challenges conventional understanding of gender identity by depicting a protagonist who transitions seamlessly between genders, embodying both masculine and feminine traits. Echoing Simone de Beauvoir's idea of gender as a socially constructed, Woolf advocates for a more fluid and inclusive conception of identity. However, by posing these boundaries, the novel also reflects limitation and complexity, particularly in its treatment of race and sexuality. This is the reference. Thank you. If any question, you ask me.
So Kushi, as you mentioned the fluidity, so my question is depend on this. How does Virginia Woolf depict Orlando's gender identity as fluid and transcending convention combined?
Okay, Jay. Virginia Woolf depicts Orlando's gender identity and fluidity transcending conventional binary by illustrating a protagonist male to female, masculine to or feminine expression. Virginia Woolf challenges the protagonist to male to female without any struggle. Orlando experience through historical portrait, showcasing the transformative power and her personal expression.
Kushi, according to you, in what ways does Orlando embody both masculine and feminine quality? And how does this contribute to the novel's exploration of gender?
Yes, Jatin. Orlando embodies both masculine and feminine quality, and this contribution the novel exploration of gender throughout the novel. Protagonist Orlando, male to female, male to female to gender norms, binary, Woolf portrayed Orlando as the Woolf portrayed Orlando to male to female, masculine to feminine. Expression invite fluidity, preconceived notion, identity, and gender roles. Thank you.
Okay, so uh, by and large, good. Everybody has done quite well. Many of you have used articles, quality articles from just or resources. So that is good. Continue doing that. Those who are not using those resources. 5 minutes, Raju. 5 out. They shall start doing that. So use our e-library resources also, MKPU, and from that you will find quality articles. So we want to see that more and more qualitative researches are cited, and you also become aware that this is these are the good quality resources available there. So most of you have done that also, so that is good. Improvement that you need to do is to one time be careful. 7 to 8 minutes. Try to speak orally instead of read the slides. Just don't slide is as an idea that what you have to speak when that slide comes. But nothing. If there is a quote and you want to read, that is fine. Quote there is no need to memorize, so that you can read, but not everything line by line, word by word, line by line. If you read from slides, that is not the way that presentations are made. That is why now people deny that no PPTs. You stand up and orally speak, whatever, 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever you want to, but no PPT, nothing in the hand. Just stand and say whatever you want to say. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, no problem. 1 minute, then also fine. That's why people are stopping now in universities. That no PPTs. Why? Because students read every word line by line, and it becomes very dull and boring also. Because you hide behind the PC, you don't know the face, you don't see the faces also. Then also you come to know. આ લોકો હવે કંટાળ્યા છે, હવે મારે પૂરું કરવું જોઈએ. પણ તમે એ ચહેરા જોવો તો તમને ખ્યાલ આવે કે હવે બધા કંટાળ્યા છે, હવે મારે બોલવાનું બંધ કરવું જોઈએ. But you don't see that because of lack of eye contact. You don't know what is the effect of your dull reading. So avoid that. Many of you are doing that. So see that you try to overcome that. In Pallavi's presentation, there was this reference to Himwant. If you remember, a few days back, I sent one video about what is the origin of HEMALI, which is purely accidental. Now, in that, what normally people see is that there is spirituality, there is this holiness, there is this kind of enlightenment, reverence. But few years ago, there was nothing like that. It came very recently. So Earth was there, even those things were not there. So that point needs to be taken. Whatever way we perceive some places on the earth, it has its origin somewhere. Before that, there was no such place. So whatever we see, divinity into Mansarovar, Kailas, they were nothing. They are made in a recent time. If you see the time of earth, then it is very recent time that they are made by accident. That again is an accident. So when people think that there is some divine, then people think that it might be made by somebody to be good, to be pious. But Himalaya is not made by anybody as such. It is an accidental way that it has come. So whatever we read is human construct on it. It is not actually there, but it is a human construct. So that point need to be added along with what normally people believe about echoing spirituality, enlightenment, reverence, and other things there. Then we had Trupti also need to cite from quality papers. UNNATI. So when you use this sources, try to remember them when you speak also. Article you are putting there, but it is only in the parentheses and you don't name them when you speak. So and so person argues in this article, that way you have to speak. You have to name the people and their article also. So by that way you will remember that. And when you will go for exam, you will remember those critics also and those articles also. So it will be easy for you to write in answer papers also. Name of the critics and name of the articles also. You can easily cite. It won't be difficult. So when we will tell you that you should write name of the article, you will say that it is very difficult to remember. But if you go under this process, it is not difficult. You might have noted down some of the articles you might have spoken, so it is easy to remember. It is not difficult. But if you do that, then you keep it there in the slide and in the reference, but you never name them. Then you will never remember. That is not the right way also. That you have to always refer to them and then say the thing. Yasraj on meme, there was a good topic, but still deeper things needs to be seen into how memes contribute to cultural understanding. ASHA also prepared well on Daisy's character. Jatin also prepared well, but still something is lacking in comparing Orlando, Sekhandi, and Lakshmi. How clearly you can identify the difference in culture, in time, and in space. So there are different time frames. Shikhandi is a different time frame. Orlando is a different time frame, and Lakshmi is a different time frame, which again is a retelling of a South Indian film. So even in that, how it changes or what way it happens. Across the time, how people see, if you can see that then it becomes very important. Jai was talking about this color, and there was this question about this pink color suit. So normally in this narrative, there are no other significance or symbolic reading of pink color as such. But it is only to say that these kinds of choices of garments and colors are made by the people who are from lowly birth. They are from lower class. Their choices are of that kind. That is what Tom Buchanan says. The people who are rich for families, generations, those who are rich, they are high class people. Their selection of colors and those things are much sober. And the new people, new economy, new rich people, first generation rich people, they may be very gaudy also in the selection of their colors or clothes and other kinds of things also. That is that fun he tries to make about the people belonging to lower class, poor people, and suddenly they have become rich, or they are the first generation rich people. That satire is made there, which is quite a universal thing, which is seen across the world. Everywhere in our societies also, people tend to make comments by looking at the clothes, color of clothes, and those things normally is found also. Okay, Khushi also tried to make good, but answers we are not able to still give properly. Okay, so with this we end today's session, and wish you all the best for tomorrow.